Hi everyone. Um, could anybody confirm on the chat box on the side if you can hear and see all of us? Right. We haven't been getting any messages.
We got the messages.
We got a
Yes.
message. Okay. Awesome. All right. Hi everyone. Welcome to June's edition of Product Teardown, which is happening in July. And this month's teardown is with Simpl, as all of you know. And we have our six panelists with us, whom I will be getting to in a minute. And before I can get to that, just a brief introduction about the product folks, the organization which is organizing the product teardown. And because there are some of the 84 people who are online some of you have participated in the event, or some of you have joined in just because you found this interesting and this is your first time here. The Product Folks is a volunteer-driven community, which is trying to enable, felicitate, and just trying to build a network of product managers and product enthusiasts. And we are currently one of India's largest. We have programs such as Insurjo, Product Teardown, and several cohort-based classes to help people at different stages of their product domain, whether they are a student or a mid-level professional trying to break their entry into the product domain, or a mid to level senior who is trying to accelerate their growth in the product domain. The product teardown, which is this event, is one such event that the product folks is organizing, where every month we collaborate with one company who has a problem that they are facing and that they put it out there. And all of you send in decks that you feel is a great solution to the problem that they're facing. And they have taken out the time and energy to decide which of the solutions the one that they're looking for, and the 5 to 6 selected ones are the ones that we will get to see present their decks on deck day, which is today. If there are no questions about that, we will continue to present our panelists and the employees of Simpl. So first we have Nitya Sharma, who is the co-founder and CEO of Simpl. He holds a MS in finance from the University of Michigan and has briefly worked at Goldman Sachs as a vice president. Nitya, if you would like to add anything about yourself or your journey to start Simpl.
Hi everyone. Thanks, by the way, for doing this. We are excited to learn how you all thought about some of these things at Simple and hopefully incorporate some of the ideas. Um, Very quickly, I started Simple about 7 years ago now when I got rejected for a credit card, and I really felt that there is an opportunity to reimagine what a credit card is. So that's how Simple was created, and excited to hear today's session.
Thank you so much, Nitya. Next, we have Khanaz, who is an IMA graduate and with many years of experience in the product domain at Amazon. Sorry, I forgot to mention that Khanaz is also the VP of products at Simpl and is here with us today.
Hey, thank you for the intro. Very happy to be here and learn from the community on some of the real problems that we are dealing with day in and out. So, looking forward to a great conversation. Um, I find Simple very exciting for the reasons that Nitya kind of touched upon, and also because it's something that's truly innovative. It's a new way of looking at how we kind of do the next wave of e-commerce in India. And the way I like to think about it is Simple is at the center of kind of decoupling e-commerce ordering and payments, and making payments no experience thing at all, right? So very excited to be here. I'm in really patchy network. I'm actually traveling, so I might be dropping in and off throughout, but I think we have enough folks on the call today to kind of support the conversation.
Thank you so much, Khanaz. Next, we have Renju Balu, who is the director of product at Simpl and is also a fellow IAMA graduate. And over to you, Renju.
Thank you, Nikhil. And it's been a real pleasure evaluating a lot of your solutions. Some of the solutions are really innovative and really looking forward to hearing you taking us through your analysis of the problem and the kind of solutions that you have come up with. And about Simpl, I think you have heard from both Nitya and Khanas. We are, sort of innovating quite a lot of pieces within the e-commerce space. And hopefully we get to see some of you getting into those details in this call as well. Or to you, Nikhil. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Renju. Next, we have Nishit, who is the current principal product manager at Simpl, and he was also the former head of growth at Apna.
Yeah, he Nikhil, thanks for the intro. And yep, like Renju and Kanas also mentioned, it was actually very insightful in studying the decks that were already submitted. And we are looking forward to actually go ahead with a working session to actually find out the thought process that went behind creating those solutions, those user journeys, and the solutions that were being proposed. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nishit. And next we have Devyani Saxena, who has worked in multiple roles at Simpl, including growth, as well as her current role, which is product manager. And some of you might have also seen her at the GrowthX demo day if you have participated in the same. Over to you, Devyani.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for first investing your time on a Sunday evening. I had a chance to interact with many of the team members. I was part of the AMA that happened in the middle of June, and I was happy to hear the quality and the depth of questions. I've been at Simpl for 4 years now, been part of different growth projects, and currently I'm in the product team. Been working on the mobile experience and some of the problems. One of the problem statements that we'll talk about today, we are kind of solving that. But yeah, very excited for today's presentations.
Thank you so much, Devyani. And last but not least, we have, I think, the youngest panelist here, who is Faiz. And Faiz was also, he is the founder's office at Simpl and also Nishit's colleague at Apna before Simpl.
Thanks for the introduction, Nikhil. I think very excited to get started, and I think loved the exercise of shortlisting. Was very intrigued by the number of decks we got. It was very hard to shortlist the top 5, but very excited to now just select the top first 3. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Faiz. And now that we have completed all of you, since Faiz also touched upon the selection of the finalists, if any of you could just jump in and let us know based on what criteria you selected these finalists over the ones you possibly could not select, and what are the attributes that you're looking for the particular problem statement, anything that you would like to add.
Sorry, your voice is
Devyani.
Oh, I was okay. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay. Just since Faiz touched upon selection, I just thought if anybody can jump in and give us more insights based on the criteria on which you selected today's finalists for the particular problem statement that you have. Anything in the decks that they had that the others didn't have, etc.
Yeah, so we received like 64 presentations, 64 teams presented. We evaluated the presentations and the problem solutioning based on 4 parameters: the analysis of the problem, how well they have understood, what are we trying to solve, and we're trying to solve it through product-led solutions. So analysis of the problem. Second was what kind of solutions they have come up with, including immediate low-hanging fruits, immediate that we can go ahead with, actionables, and a long-term plan, because improving the rate by 3x is not easy to do in like 1 or 2 months. Then creativity of solutions, and also creativity involves how well they have presented the solution in terms of have they presented any wireframe, have they visualized the solution, because idea is not enough. And the last is user journey, how these users will flow from, say, one step to the next and into their solutions, and finally what are we trying to achieve. So yes, so these 4 parameters: analysis of problem, proposed solutions, creativity, and user journey.
Yeah, and we also considered like whatever the solutions were proposed, right? Or how close to the problem statement they were, like whether the problem statement was picked up correctly or not to begin with, because we are needing solutions to a very specific topic over here. So how closely were they related to what we are actually looking to progress into? So that was also considered over here while we are evaluating.
Thank you so much. I'm sure the ones who have not participated in this month's teardown but have listened to you will have some notes for their future versions as well. All right, everyone. I think now we can get down to beginning the event. And how it will work is my fellow volunteer, Nitesh, is here, who will be sharing his screen and will be running a picker wheel in which we have the names of all the teams, all the finalists. And if your team is chosen, then your team will be the one to go. If you see your name on screen, please raise your hand in this AirMeet user interface, and I will add you on stage so that you can begin your presentation. You have 6 minutes to present, and the rest of the time is left for the panelists to pose you with any questions that you will have to answer. All right, Nitesh, over to you. Abhinav and your teammate, I think some of the teams have 2 members. If you and your teammate could raise your hand. Yes, thank you. Yes, we have Abhinav and Rishabh. Yes, once Nitesh stops sharing his screen, Nitesh will also be keeping the timer, and he will just remind you once in between, once you hit the timer. Rest of time is yours. All right. Thank you so much.
Please let me know if my screen is visible and we are audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're audible. We can hear you.
Okay.
So, we'll start. Hello. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Abhinav Kevani, and I'm an undergrad here at IIT ISM Dhanbad.
My name is Rishabh Pandey, a finalist undergrad at IIT ISM Dhanbad, both representing Kalpitam, the product club of IIT ISM Dhanbad.
We will be presenter for today and will present our solutions for this month's Product Teardown. So, this month's Product Teardown was in association with Simpl, a BNPL which provides a full-stack mobile-first platform for credit-based payment that empowers online retailers to build trusted relationships with their best customers. So the problem statement needed us to improve the day 30 conversion for the product metric successful app onboarding to the first transaction. We personally also didn't use the Simpl app before the teardown, so we imagined ourselves as the user we were targeting in the problem statement, which further helped us in the user empathy and also gone through a ton of online reviews to understand the problem user faced better with the needed market research before structuring the deck. After this, we tried to find what all was going in the competitive landscape and categorize the competitors as direct and indirect and what all they offered as features. Now was the time to identify the problems of the user by personifying them. The users mainly want to get the best deals all at once based on the age, group, and daily activities. We can divide them in two main personas. First one here is Rishi Singh, who is a college student, and second one here is Ria Devan, who is a 28-year-old operations manager. So let's go through the existing user journey. So the first pushback which we saw was redirecting the users over Telegram, which was creating an undefined loop. Second, for the offers, when we allow users to move from app to the Simpl website and redirecting them to other apps. Third, the merchants we support tab was placed in the more sections of the app, and no proper integration was seen, which was adding to the user friction. In general, we can say all these diverted paths cause and drop off of around 80%. So after recollecting all the pain points, these are the opportunities we saw and based the solutions upon. So we introduced 4 solutions to combat the problem statements at hand. Firstly, redesigning the user experience with better dashboards, overall aesthetics of the app, and making brand discovery much simple. Here's how the wireframe will look to make the overall experience better. Secondly, Simple Marketplace, which is a marketplace for users to explore the brands, get brand specific deals, and showcase the trending deals on the app itself, rather than on Telegram channels and redirecting them to platform website, which is happening on the existing app. Here's how the wireframe will look like.
The third solution we came up with is Simpl, a web-based extension solving the needs of multi-device integration, enhancing shopping experience with automated linked offers, a watch list to track, and with a price drop alert as a feature. Here's how the wireframe will look like, where you will find the watch list to add things and linked offers. Next comes in is Simpl XP, a gamified way of introducing an economy and relating the users to one of the back psychology and the core drive of gamification, social influence and relatedness, with the most prominent feature being the leaderboard, which will be based on activities over the app. Considering all the solutions proposed, here's how the desired user journey will be achieved by all by creating separate and clear spaces to explore, along with the proper integration of brands, which will ultimately result in decreasing the aggregated drop-offs to 40%. The numbers mentioned are assumed to create a base ideology for expressing the qualitative metrics. The prioritization was governed by the parameters involving retention, implementation effort, user satisfaction, activity on the app, ease of use, and business value derived when the marketplace where the marketplace stand out as a winner, followed by redesign UI, Simpl XP, and Simpl R in order. Solution lifecycle will initiate with the planning phase where works on PRDs, wireframes will be done. Then comes the development phase with reviews, testing, and iterating it all until something solid comes out. Now comes the launching plan and metrics to track the hard work we put in. We have framed the GTM strategy by clearly defining the ideal buyer persona, which is in the age group of 20 to 45, mostly working professionals having the recurring income, and then deciding on the marketing funnels based on strategies, which we have divided into 3 phases, respectively, for generating the product demand, content marketing, and execution ideas for engagement and retention issues. Launch timeline involves the strategy to release the features in a way to create a meaningful impact on the users, considering the time it would take for the creating the hype, testing things on real grounds, reiterating based on reviews, and data tracking, which with the metrics defined. All of this will take a journey of around 6 months. Time to talk about the data we would track in considering the product and our overall business. We have mentioned a few of must-end metrics in the slide, like customer satisfaction for redesign user journey, increase in sales for marketplace, products added to the watch list per user in the Simpl R, DAU upon MAU for accessing the leaderboard, and ultimately the goal mentioned in the problem statement, growth of the first-time users transacting on the day 30 of the journey, month over month. There are various direct and indirect factors which hampers the experience even with the planned things and can be improved in the journey further. Redesigning the UI may result in confusing the old users with a lot of things happening on the app. Simpl R being an extension-based solution surely deals with security issues. Introduction to a new economy involves a great decision making in order to define labor to benefit ratio. More conclusions can be made by monitoring how the journey goes. Not limiting to this, we propose few rollouts to explore in the near future, as offline payment support on merchants having offline stores on or retail units, then creating a way to integrate watch list and price drop alert features on the app, to working more on the gamifying experience of the integration and brand support. While analyzing, we have always kept the company's mission on top priorities, where Simpl caters both brands and users to deliver a quality solution. Hence, we have also restrained ourselves from going on rewards and refill-based approach. Thank you. That's all from us.
Thank you.
Over to you, team. Thank you so much, Rishabh and Abhinav.
Nikhil, we can ask questions now, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Overall, first of all, very good presentation in terms of content. Just a few initial questions just to understand how you have thought through the solution. So if I start from the beginning, right, you have done a certain bit of market research, starting with competitive analysis. What did you derive out of this competitive analysis to, achieve this goal?
Okay. To start with, first we realized that Simpl is doing something very different in the market. Like most of the BNPL present in the industry, they whenever they are giving the credit, it shows like when you will see your credit reports, it appear as a loan, but credit on whereas the credit which is given by the Simpl is not does not affect our credit score. So that was something which was very new, and that like keeps Simpl very different from others. Secondly, I will like Abhinav to add on few things. Abhinav, if you can.
We also saw like options of scan and pay in lazy pay. So we also like tried to introduce it in a main solution, but were not able to like enable it with the current partners. So we like added it to the future rollouts. So like when like we increase our partnerships with stores like Reliance or like Big Bazaar, so like Simpl can be used as a paying partner and at the offline stores also.
Okay. So in terms of this second solution, right, in terms of exposing Simpl to offline stores and all, do you see any pitfalls or any potential issues that could come up um, from this approach?
Regarding the offline payments,
Yeah.
we started thinking on this by considering the example of Zomato, and we realized that if Zomato is a brand which is tied up with Simpl, then Zomato is also a brand where it is tied up with LazyPay. So there's the issue can arise, but if we are targeting the bigger brands like who's having a retail unit chains, no, that place it can work. For example, if Reliance Fresh is there. Reliance Fresh has his whole like a whole the unit. You can go and buy things and you can use credit there. So there it can work, but brands supporting other brands, there the things can happen. But a single unit of brand, there it can work.
Okay. So
Hey, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, I was not clear on on that part. So you're saying that there are in Big Bazaar and those kind of shops it can work, and some other places it couldn't work. So if you can just brief a little bit more on that.
For example, in Zomato, if Zomato is tied, like Zomato has tie up with several restaurants, right? For example, you go to that restaurant and you order something and you had that option to buy. Like you want to use Simpl there. So a particular restaurant will not be favoring a Simpl because they are having different options. They are supported by Zomato, they are supported by Swiggy. So
Okay.
the direct interaction is not there with the Simpl. So there this thing can work because Zomato has multiple partners. Zomato cannot rely on directly on Simpl. They cannot put a scanner there, like for displaying. Okay, you will be getting. You can scan from the Simpl and you can pay directly. They're having
because
different
at
options, right?
because at the restaurant there are no like specific code for Zomato. Like you cannot scan for Zomato. It's like the
Right.
Paytm UPI or the GPay. That's the phone pay, but there is not a specific Zomato scanner, so it cannot work with the partner app like
Okay.
Zomato.
Okay. Yeah. Noted. Yeah. Kanas, you were saying something, I guess.
No, I just wanted to hear from the team on what was their real understanding of the problem statement given, right? And if you could just walk us through each solution and how it really helps with that specific problem statement. Like all the ideas that you've shared are great, but I was finding it a little hard to connect the dots from the recommendation to the problem at hand for each of them.
Yeah, sure. Starting with the basic thing like which we focused on, like though the problem was based on growth that we have to increase the users to 3x, but we felt that if everyone is providing BNPL these days, so our user will stick to that app or the growth will be increased when we will provide something different, something which they really want. So we felt the need to create a best onboarding experience to clear out the things which are already present in the app. So firstly, we analyze for days, like for 10 days, we analyze what is in the app, dig out the things. Okay, this is there, this is not. We worked on this thing. We've figured out, okay, there are many pathways there where the users lags in. Like they have this trouble on they continuing the journey. Whether it's for the offers where the app redirects them to the Telegram channel, and there the only other code is there, and there is no option of directly implementing that specific linked code or linked offer to the deal. So that was a hamper which the user faces because it's increasing the journey. And similarly, another thing which was while choosing the offers tab, on the Simpl app, did redirect you to the web page, and from there you get multiple options. Like whenever you select a brand, that funnel gets decreases. You are on Simpl. Suppose you are on Simpl, okay. You're now you are redirected to a brand's page. Now the possibility that the person will be buying from that brand's page is far less as it will be when the brand is integrated on the Simpl app. So that was something which we found that should be rectified. And plus merchants like Simpl is a place for brands. So there's an immediate need of displaying the brand as much as you can, because unless and until a person will know that what the brand is offering, I can't go. Like, even if 15,000 or 1,500 brands are there, I will be knowing around 50 to 60. But for the rest of the brands, I should be getting an option where I can see what is happening in the app and whatnot. So we created different spaces for that. A marketplace we have created, which was dedicated for the brands, where you will find the offers, and when you will click on the offers, the web page will be integrated here. The branch page will be integrated, and from there you can follow the journey. When you will be clicking on the merchants, you will be directed to the two different tabs: merchants and my merchants. My merchants will be a tab for brand, where the brands will be like they will be displaying what they do and what not. So I can easily figure out, okay, if I need a shoes, let me figure out, okay, which brand is catering, which brand is having its speciality in shoes. So I can go to that brand page, and then I can go to the simplest one. So that was one of the ideology which we had. Second thing, we felt, okay, if most of the users are Gen Zs and they are working professionals, most of the time they spend it on their laptops, and very often we go on searching products on the websites. So why not have a special or end of solution, like the Klarna app, if you might know. They deal in this. They have their extension where you can add things, where you can uh, directly pay through that. So that was an inspiration which we got. So we thought of an extension based ideas, where we can just, like, by going on a brand's web page, we can select on the options, we can find what are the relevant deals present on this brand for Simpl, and from there we can proceed to the transaction. Third we came up with was
Rishabh, sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you. Can you just go back to Simple R? I didn't fully follow. Um, so this is like a Chrome extension
Yeah.
that'll, when I as a user go to, let's say, Mintra.com, this
Hmm.
extension will tell me which of the products on Mintra has a simple deal on. Is that the idea?
What we have figured out from the offers which are there on the Simpl, which offers Simpl provides, it's not on a particular product. It's based on a brand. So that particular site will show, okay, whether that brand is having any offers of Simpl or not. So from there they can figure it out. That offers will be linked directly. We're not having a very clear image, because this is not something which was tested, and we are not like very much expert in the tech thing, but we have imagined that, okay, this is something which we can bring up with.
And it also, like, it works in the market. It like the
Yeah,
Klarna app, if you know, like it's doing it in its country, like it offering it to its user, and it works, like it's working very nicely.
we
So
tried
like it,
exploring Klarna, but the issue came there was that they wanted an USA account. Like, we should be a USA resident to use that. So we were not able to explore that much. So that's why.
like just a
That,
No, but that's
solution, like
fine.
it's
But like, what
worth
was
exploring.
sorry, my net is bad, so I might be speaking over you guys by mistake. I'm still unclear about this. Basically, I'm not sure how this is, how this is driving users to make a transaction. What is the connect there? So if you look at the
Like,
problem statement, right? The problem statement was, how do you get users who get access to Simple to use Simple, which is basically make a transaction via Simple. So not sure how this helps. Maybe I'm not understanding it.
we are just like trying, like, to attract the users on every device they use, like not only on mobile phones, which is like generally, like when we are scrolling or shopping, we some like the professionals mainly use laptops. So like we wanted to tackle the situations where they want to use the credit on the laptop itself, and like attract the users from there as well.
Like we have interviewed a few of our friends, and they had also had this same issue. Like most of the shopping they do is they keep on searching on different brands, and they keep on bookmarking them for the future thing. They don't there's always a need of like both integration of the like the web based platform and the app based platform. So that's where we felt the need. Okay, but if users are wanting it, then why not? Why not
It's
give them
also
the
like the
option?
nobody in the competitive landscape of like the main competitors of Simple are not doing any such thing, and like bringing a new type of solution will, I know, bring some hurdles, but also will attract some users and like help them or like drive them to use Simple for the first time.
Surely it
Okay.
has. It does not have a great user base, but that was the reason. Like Simple R was not prioritized, and the score was like very low. Uh, just the reason being, ease of use was pretty low compared to the other solutions, and satisfaction and compared to the other things. But that's just the start of this imagination phase. So
The,
we can surely improve it on.
okay,
Aim
sure.
was to like attract the users from every device they use, like and,
Okay, thanks.
Can you also just explain a little about the Simple XP program that was the next proposal?
Yeah. Like these days, like every platform is working on their gamification thing. Now it depends. Whenever you gamify an platform, the most used tactic is you create an economy, and you create an economy in order to like provide them the labor to benefit ratio, and in a particular order where the user feels okay they are getting something for the effort they are doing. So we aim to design some kind of feature where the user will be like the actions which the user takes in, where they invest times in, they will be getting something from it. They will feel okay, if I'm using this app, I will be getting some kind of XPs. And the main reason we connected it with a leaderboard is we all have this tendency of social relatedness and influence. Like we get influenced by seeing what others are doing, and that's how the like every product goes on. So if I'm having like 50 people in my contacts, and if I can see that 10 people are using Simple, then the trust builds in. Then this thing comes in. Okay, if you're maintaining a leaderboard and the top users who are there on the Simple app, they are getting some exciting deals. Obviously, the benefit should be great on the start to attract the users. So that was kind of idea which we were like focusing on.
So over here, the leaderboard consists of how much I'm spending using Simple, right?
Like it's one of the metrics. It's it can be on how much transactions you are making, how many people you are referring the app to, or we can like if you will go to the GTM now, go to market strategy. Simple XP is not something which is a unique solution, like which is a separate solution. It can be integrated with the marketplace. It can be integrated with the Simple R. Like if the Simple R, if we want users to, if we want users to like they should be using Simple R, so we can increase the margin where they will be getting the XPs there as compared to the app. So it's a driving factor which governs. You can say it governs the back psychology of the users, like okay how we should interact and why not.
So
like
if
if we
as a
want the users to like organically come onto the platform and not like through Zomato for repayments, we need a driving force. And like through like marketing is okay, but like Simple XP just promotes mouth marketing and like helps motivate, like my friends are doing, so I should also try once. And because marketing also tried, but
yeah,
this
because as
will be
a
a
yeah, so where I was coming from as a user, right? I wouldn't like to compete where I need to like the leaderboard where it decided based on how much money I'm spending, right? Because I
no,
don't.
it's not on the money I'm spending. It's not at all on the money I'm spending.
Then how
It's
would you
just
define the leaderboard? Like just for if you want to refer to that solution, how would the leaderboard look like? Because over here, like from what I see on the deck is that it is based on the number of savings that you make, which is also directly proportional to the amount that I spend. But can we somehow relate it back to how, or the rewards, can we relate it back to giving them a better experience on the product? Like you unlock certain things within the product or something of that sort. Can this be defined in that way? Because over here, even so, the number of savings, it means that you need to give a lot more cashbacks and offers. And if I do the leaderboard, the number of spends that I do, that is again something which most of the users wouldn't like to compete in, because it is just showing off how much wealth you have in a way. Not everyone would be having the use case of purchasing on a day-to-day basis or on a week-to-week basis. So it doesn't apply to all the users who use Simple.
It's
It'd be an
something.
incentive enough to stick on Simple.
Yeah, like Simple is like, as a user, if I will think, Simple is an app which, for me, it's for brands. For me, it's for payment solution. It's a payment solution thing. Uh, it's a platform to explore brands. And if I'm getting some kind of incentive, if we'll say, for exploring over Simple compared to other brands, and why not? Like, everyone will that can be a driving force. Obviously, like you mentioned, milestone unlock and progress bar can be a additive feature to this, where the leaderboard, suppose if I'm like positioning on top three, so I will be getting better deals. I will be getting a longer interval for repayments, or that can be implemented there. It was just a feature to engage the users more, just to represent themselves. Ki, okay, if they are spending time, they are getting something. It's not something just to explore brand.
And
Obviously,
how
we,
would,
we need to focus on more on the other solutions.
yeah, and how would this help to improve the first transaction, right?
uh, the simple XP,
Hmm.
it builds the trust. Like I said, no, it builds the trust. When you see your friends are already on Simple, they are using it. As a new user, if I come into it, so that's obviously, that was the reason. If you'll see the launch timeline which we have made, Simple XP, like Simple XP was on a later phase after 4 months, when the brand hype is there, when the marketplace has already catered all the users, people are liking the product, they have realized what the quality is, and now they want something for the engagement. So that's where the Simple XP comes in.
So
And
it's
pay,
not very much related to the problem statement, then, right? The
and
problem.
but in payment solutions, like there is a very high need of trust, because like people are generally using the apps they are habit to use. Like many of times they don't want to try a new app just because there are many bugs or like or payment failures or else. But like if they will see like their friends and families are trying to like using it, so like it will just help the mouth marketing, as I said before. And like it will help them come on the app, explore it, and like then like that will help other features to act, like help the driving help get the first transaction.
Like, answering to your question, like, we had a day span of 30 days, right? In that 30 days, engagement is something which comes in play. So that's where you can think of Simple XP, where it can work.
Like the notifications and all will work, but the engagement, like bringing the user on the app is more important for for like it will motivate the user to transact. But if he doesn't come on the app itself, he will not. Like it will just be an app which is just installed in his phone.
It's just, you can also think of this, like, it's a trend going on where everything is getting shifted to Web3, and when the Web3 comes in, the term economy comes in, and if you have already a defined term for economy, and it's already on the app, surely use cases, like many use cases are not there which are related to the problem statement, but that indirect factors which comes in with Simple XP, that was the reason which, like, why we put it in, like, compared to the uh, other
It was just
referrals
the
and
driving
payment
force
systems.
that will like bring the user on the app. That was the main like the aim of the feature.
Okay, I mean we can proceed actually. Yeah.
Are there any more questions from the Simple team, or is, are we
Okay, I'm good.
I'm good too.
all right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Rishabh and Abhinav.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks
I will
team.
just be removing you both from stage.
Thank,
Um,
thank
Thanks team.
thank you. Over to you, Nitish, for the takeaway. Hi, Gopal. I think you're on stage now.
Yeah, I'll just present my screen.
Awesome.
Is my screen visible?
Yep, it's visible.
All right. So hi everybody. I'm Gopal. Let's directly dive into the presentation. Okay, so I think the problem statement is fairly clear. We have to triple the rate at which the activation is currently happening within 30 days of app onboarding. So I have taken some assumptions and I would like to highlight those very clearly here. So there is no budget constant as such. And on the technical front, the number which is being used to create account on Simpl is the same as the number which is used to create account on our partner brands. Also, the person who is being onboarded will be doing at least one transaction within 30 days across the merchant network that we have. And also, when I was checking the newly onboarded person's app interface, no, I was not able to find bill box. So I'm assuming that that was not deliberate, and we did not aim to restrict newly onboarded people from bill box. And one more thing which is not mentioned here is that we are not making any changes to our partner brands interface. We are trying to do everything product led, right? So moving on to how I went about this. So I tried to understand how does the user of Simpl look like, try to do the user persona, and try to understand if the person is not discovering the app from a partner brand. I mean, even if it's difficult, discovering us from there, but not making the transaction there, then what could be the expectation of the user? So I tried to note down all the expectation of users coming from different channels. Then from those expectations point of view, try to look at the current app, and then I've listed down all the solution, all the problems, then all the possible solution, and did a little bit of mock-up. Then I went on to prioritize things and what are the challenges that can come, and how do we ensure that we succeed in our uh, in our vision of or the aim of getting thrice the activation rate. So for user persona, there are two user personas right here. One is for Shivani, who is already working, and her pain points are that she does not like to enter CVV and OTP every time she transacts. She forgets about bill payments. And then there is Yatharth, who loves discount, and who also loves credit for a little bit of time, like 50 to 30 days. Coming to discovering Simpl, so people can discovering Simpl while scrolling the social feed, like watching an ad or maybe going through some social media post, and then they might be willing to explore while talking to a friend, searching for a BNPL solution, or might be discovering it on product partner brand, but not transacting there. So the likelihood of transaction is very high when the person is listening about Simpl from a friend. In rest of the cases, the person is in more or less exploration phase and would like to know more about Simpl. So the four things the person would like to know more about Simpl before doing a transaction, which would build trust. I think the first would be discounts, because I have seen, I talked to some 12 people, and out of that, 10 people use Simpl first because of the discount. Like, so I deduced from that the discount is working as a great acquisition channel for Simpl. So the users must be made aware about the discounts. And also I went through the Facebook ad library, and I could see that all the ads, I mean, in some or the other way, were talking about discount. So discount is a great acquisition channel, and after being onboarded, the customers must be shown that very clearly: features and benefits, partner brands, and terms of use, so that there is absolutely no confusion about the credit terms and all. Moving ahead, so this is the current homepage for a newly onboarded customer. The auto pay option has been given, but the customer has not made any transaction. So I think that is a little too irrelevant, and we can remove that. And the discount, as we talked about, is a major area which we can focus on, and it's not being highlighted very clearly here. FAQs is given there, good. Also, the credit limit has been mentioned very clearly, so that's nice. Bill box is not given there, as I talked about earlier also. Yeah, so now digging into the homepage from four aspects which we talked about: discounts, benefit, brands, and FAQs. So discounts, when the customer is clicking on the discount banner, no, the person is being redirected to URL which is not user friendly per se, because a banner is also coming up to increase friction, and then user is being taken out of the app. So that is not desirable. In terms of benefits, users are not being made very clearly aware of the benefits, as in where all they can use Simpl. Like they're being made known about 15,000 app, but nothing about bill box or pay in 3 feature, right? So moving ahead, the transaction, the profile section looked good. About the bill box from other app, I discovered it, and I found that a banner is popping up even as the person has not discovered the bill box feature. So I think that's a distraction, and we need to do something about it. All right, so the more section of app has two very hidden treasures, as you can say. The first is list of all the partner brands that we have, and pay, and all the brands that support pay in 3 feature. If the person is knowing about these things, the likelihood of transaction become much more, because a person might not be transacting with Zomato a lot, but they might be shopping from Nike. So the more the option, the more the likelihood of transaction. So these are the 3 problems: the poor user flow leading to customers not being aware of inherent value, no incentive to start transaction, and also not many high intent customers are coming. Like we saw, instead when the customer is being referred by a friend, only then the intent is very high, because the friend is making the person aware of everything, right? And he's vouching for Simpl. But in rest of the cases, it's not the case. So we'll be improving on UI and UX. We'll be designing some incentives to drive transactions, and we'll also be trying to come up with a referral program, which is not there currently. Okay, so to communicate benefits, I think there are 3 ways to use Simpl. The first is paying at 15,000 plus brands. Second is Billbox, and third is pay in 3. So I think the homepage should have all these very clearly and very explicitly mentioned, so that whenever the user gets to the homepage, they are able to see it very clearly, and whatever they want to explore, they can explore, and after being informed, make transaction, right? Okay, so coming to we also the next part under UI and UX improvement, we also need to communicate about discounts and partner brands very well, because more the partner brands, more the likelihood of customer being covered under any of those partner brands. So the customer should be adding a Simpl as payment option on partner brand also, and this feature is already available, but we need to make it more accessible, so that if the person is making an effort to add Simpl as the checkout option, then the likelihood of making a transaction also increases. So I think we should be doing that. Now, including all those things which I talked about, the homepage should look something like this. The banner talking about discount is much bigger, and also it has some visually appealing creative, and also the list of the partner brands is highlighted there, and also the 3 use cases how the person can use is given there. Autopay has been removed. Yeah, so mockup UI and UX improvement, we have added one more tab to it, that is explore section. Under explore section, there can be 3 subsections: one having all the partner brand offers, one having the list of all the partner brands, and one having all the list of paying 3 brands that we are working with. Okay, so coming to incentives that will help us drive transaction, the first incentive could be giving user cashback while onboarding. So we are already giving discount with the help of our partner brands, but as a user, you always try to protect the downside risks. This always happens. You are not trying to make much more money, but we are trying to reduce the losses, like if you say in the case of stock market. So if we are crediting user with certain cashback that will be adjusted with the next billing amount, the user is much more likely to do the transaction, because otherwise, if the person is uninstalling the app, they might feel like that I'm losing out in this 100 rupees which is already available with me. So I think that is a big thing, and also this can work as an aha moment, right, for the customer. And also currently the discount are not being highlighted on the home page. When the person is going through transaction, only then the customer is able to understand what kind of discount or cashback that they have received for a transaction. So I think on that part also this will be helpful, that will be showing this very explicitly. Coming to another part that will help us incentivize the transaction, that is, if the person is making a transaction within 7 days, they will get a scratch card. So I think Devani was mentioning during AMA that the first 7 days are most crucial, and that's why if the person is making a transaction within 7 days, we'll be giving the person a scratch coupon of sorts, and that scratch coupon can have offers from our partner brands, maybe some sort of subscription, right? So that will be helping our partner brand business also, and that won't be costing us a lot. Moving to next slide. So this is referral program. This is more from a long-term perspective. So currently the users who have been onboarded, we cannot do a lot about them. But if in the long run we make referral as a major acquisition channel, then as I talked about, it's more likely that we'll be getting high intent customers who are ready to do the transaction. So in the long term, referral could be a big thing, and it can be added to more section because currently it's not there. So I am not banking on it a lot. All right. So for prioritization, I've used mix of two methods. First is Moscow framework, because I think some of the feature or some of the changes, provide the base for further changes. So under UI and UX improvements, I think we need to communicate benefits, discount, and partner brands very clearly, and this would form the base for user to explore the app further. And when they'll be exploring, the chances of getting to know about the value of the app increases much more, and then they are likely to transact. So I think these two things, communicating benefits, discount, and partner brands, are must-haves. And for the rest of the things, we'll be using RISE framework for prioritization. And under that, adding Simpl as payment method will be helpful, and creating users with cashback is going to help us a lot. So we'll be focusing on these. Now, to ensure the success, there are multiple things which have to be done, right? So I was also going through the user reviews on Google Play Store, and found some negative reviews about customer success, and that led me to think about this. So at every step of the user's journey, I think we should be ensuring that somehow the customer is getting a nudge to transact. So in the app, so in the, let's say, ad which we are running on Facebook or Instagram, we can have a very clear CTA that, okay, on first transaction you will get a scratch coupon or of sorts. So if the focus is on transaction, the user is much more likely to come with a mind of transaction, and I think that's where we can do some magic. Also, considering downloading and signing up, reviews I talked about, we need to work on the pain points of the customers, so that when they are reading reviews, they are much more convinced that I need to transact with Simpl. Okay, because it's ultimately the trust factor, as my previous presenter was also talking about. So after entering the homepage, the person should be made very clearly aware of all the incentives that we are trying to help the customer with in doing the first transaction, and within first 7 days, a clever use of push notifications and the offers which we have. So we'll be using that. And let's say if a person installs the app for some reason, we can have a push notification sent to them. An email notification sent to them that, hey, we are sorry that you did not like the experience. We'd love to improve. Please give a feedback or something. Now, coming to understand that whether this all will be helping or not. So I think I found it to be very subjective and very tough to determine whether this will be helping us, what extent this will be helping us to. But I've tried to optimize with basic solutions and very focused solutions with whatever I could think of. So over time, we'll be able to understand what is working, what is not. For now, it would have been shooting in the dark if I had gone about giving some random numbers to some of the solutions. So I have refrained from that and tried to use the most optimized solutions. So I'm not allotting the scores that this particular feature will be helping us grow by 10% and 12%. But yeah, gradually we'll be understanding what feature is working best and investing more onto that. So challenges in execution, some of the basic challenges, budget, I've already talked about, in assumption that this is not a constant. But in general also, if you're acquiring more high quality customers, as in people are getting activated and they're being retained, then budget should not be a constant as such. Then the time required, we should gradually be focusing on starting with features or changes which require lesser time to start with. And then some people who are transacting with Zomato or let's say some other partner brand, Dunzo, to start with, they should not also be deprioritized because of that. So maybe when they are doing the first transaction, they should be notified using a text message, or maybe when they are yet to make the first transaction, if we can using our tech notify them, or in the partner brand app itself, we could show that, okay, when you will be doing the first transaction, you'll be getting this particular thing. So I think this all was from my side, and I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
The floor is open to questions. Any of you can jump.
Very interesting, Gopal. Really liked the flow of presentation. First, you talked about the users and the problem. I have a question particularly to the solution where you have mentioned adding Simpl as a payment option on partner brands checkout. And you've given a visual presentation of like at least shares link Simpl. Isn't that currently like the flow that we operate in? First you link your account and then you pay. How is it different?
So for some of the partner brands, I think the Simpl is already linked there, right? And for some of the partner brands, we might need to add there, as in the case of current app also, if you go to more option and you look at all the list of partner brands, there is option of linking Simpl. So I just try to make it more accessible to people by bringing it under the exploration tab. So yeah, that's what I did to enhance the reach of it.
So your suggestion is to have these brands inside the mobile app and giving them the option to link through the app itself.
No. So currently, I tried linking Zomato app using the Simpl app. So when I was trying to link my Zomato account with Simpl, no, I was being redirected to Zomato Pay. So I am not suggesting any sort of complexion in the app as of now, because we are currently trying to ultimately the customer has to make transaction on the partner brand only. So I think I mean, from what I thought, I am not suggesting any sort of in-app addition, but the customer will be like currently they'll be redirected to partner brand to add this.
Okay. Still confused. How is it different? Because if still users will be redirected to the partner brand and linking, how is it a solution for the current problem?
I mean, to be honest, it's not different. It's just making it more accessible to the users, because if they are easily able to see that, okay, we have the option of linking it, then they are more likely to link it. And then when they go to the partner brand app, since they have made this effort to link it, they'll remember it and they're more likely to transact there.
Okay.
I had a question regarding the gamification piece that you have presented. So what you're suggesting is that when a user downloads the Simpl app, present him or her with a scratch card, right? So is that the proposal? Can you please just give me a overview of what the solution is there?
All right. So I'm not proposing the scratch card to be presented when the user downloads the app. Instead, when the user is onboarded into the app, on the home screen, they should be able to see a banner of sorts in which will be saying that, okay, if you make the first transaction within 7 days of onboarding, we are going to give you a scratch card. And under that, with that scratch card, you will be able to gain some extra discount vouchers from our partner brands, and you might be able to also get some sort of subscription. So let's say you'll be getting Zomato Pro for 1 month, so that kind of thing, but only for onboarded customer if they are making transactions. So as soon as the transaction happens on the partner brands app, they are sent a notification on Simpl app, and they are sent a text message saying that, hey, you have won a scratch card, you may check it out, what you have got.
Got it. So you had another solution where you were planning to give a credit back to users, right? If I understand the solution properly. This is also in very similar lines, isn't it? See, these two solutions. It's more like, in one case you are directly giving the credit back, and in another case you are potentially giving or enticing the user, saying that there is potentially something more that's coming in for the cashbacks, right?
Right. So
Okay.
As you would have seen, I've kept both of the things under one section, that incentivizing user to get the first transaction done. So both are meant to do the same thing. I agree on that line. But if you look at how I have tried to do it, in the first case, I have tried to make the users psychologically think that, okay, I am losing on something and I should be doing it, and I'm not directly incentivizing. But in the second case, we are giving the customer an option to, okay, if you do it, you get it.
Good. So that's a pretty good and interesting solution. So do you want, just to continue the conversation, right? Because it's an interesting solution. Based on your user personas, do you want to think of one option where we selectively show this to some and not to others? You can use the personas that you have defined itself.
Okay, so maybe we can show it to Yatharth, because he is very discount conscious, and he is more likely to hop on to other apps just to see what is working for me, what is not, which apps are offering better discounts and which apps are not. So maybe it's more workable for Yatharth kind of customers who are more discount conscious and likely to switch apps.
And for your first customer, you can potentially show the one with direct cashbacks, right? Because the person won't be shopping around. The first one, I think, I forgot the name, sorry.
It was Shivani, I think.
Shivani, yes. Okay, interesting one, interesting solution. And overall, yeah, I like the approach, the way you have constructed the solution.
Just one thing is, how would the referrals help to accelerate the 7-day or the 30-day first transaction? Because generally referrals come after. I won't refer someone unless I've used the product, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is again very related to the problem statement, not to the solution. But the solution, yes, it might be referral is a good option, but sticking to the problem statement, how would it help us with the current problem statement?
Right.
How
So
would
if,
you? Hmm,
yeah,
Yeah.
if you noticed me speak no during the presentation, I clearly mentioned that referral is a solution in the long run. We are
Hmm.
not going to get more customers, suddenly because of referrals. But if in the long run, if we could make referral as a major acquisition channel, we are likely to get much more high intent customers because of referral. So if I am saying that, you are my friend, and okay, you please download this app. This app had some great features and benefits, and if you do the first transaction, you both of us will be getting 50 rupees, let's say. So I am liking the experience already, and then I am saying telling this to some other person. And in the meantime, if we are able to convey also the app offerings pretty clearly, then the person is able to find some or the other option where they'll be able to transact within 7 days. So just to give you an example, if you remember, Slice when started in the beginning, they started with 300 rupees cashback to both the person, both referee and the person who is being referred. So they used to give 300 rupees each to both of them. So, and this helped them a lot in user acquisition, and this also helped them in a lot of quality user acquisition. So when you compare them to Unicards, let's say, so Unicard customers are not loyal in general. I do not have any statistics to support this, but in general, what I have seen is Slice customers are much more vocal about them because they find it very related to them, or as in they vouch for it very clearly. So one of the reasons I think was this incentive program where both the customers getting 300 rupees on the first transaction of the referred person.
Yeah. One last thing actually over here, there was an assumption made that absence of billbox section, right? Actually, that is a deliberate choice that is being made, that the billbox is not enabled for the first set of users until they make 2 to 3 repayments. So
Right.
if I have to ask you on the top of the mind right now, that if you can, if that assumption is not true, that it is on deliberate purposes that we are not showing billbox to the new users, how would you tweak the solution which is regarding to billbox? That how can we still uh, show the users that billbox feature is there? Can we do something around that? But it will be unlocked after you do certain actions.
Yeah. So when I was trying to come up with the solution statements, no, I was also thinking of, while going the user reviews on Play Store, I also find that a lot of people are not happy with 15 days repayment period. So I was thinking, why not if we could do something on lines of a little bit of premiumness? If you are transacting more frequently, if you are in top 5% of the people who are transacting more often on Simpl, you will get access to 30 days credit repayment system, something of that sort. So maybe on those line only, if we could say that, okay, if you transact with Simpl more often, you are likely to get some premium offerings, which is bill box, which will completely take away the problem of forgetting about bills with you, and it's also comes with auto pay and all of that. So I think we can try to position it a little bit of premium offering, which you get only after you do some transactions, or you try to be frequent with your transactions with Simpl. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I think we can actually
Yep.
go on to the next one. And yeah, great work, Gopal. Yeah. So it was pretty crisp and precise.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And like one last thing actually is that, again, this is for maybe later time, but if you can think around, like you're not primarily focusing on say cashbacks or rewards from a user acquisition or a user incentive point of view, if you can figure out how the ease of use of Simpl can actually be a hook rather than the cashback, that would be a not only for Simpl but for any other general product. Like if not using rewards and cashbacks as a hook, how can we use product as a hook? Like how can the ease of use or something, any with regard to any product, can be used as a hook or as an engagement platform? Yeah.
All right, all right. I'll definitely work on that. So I thought of discounts only because it was a major acquisition channel, but I can work on this and share with the Simpl team, as
Yeah.
in what can be done else. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Gopal. I will be removing you from stage right now. I think one thing I should mention, which was mentioned also in the messages, is that from our end, we faced some technical issues, which is why some of you may not have heard the reminder for the time. but all future presenters will be interrupted at the 5 minute mark approximately to be reminded of the time. This is just for the benefit of the panelists, but after we finish our 6 minutes, we are not going to stop you from presentation. We will still allow you to finish your presentation. Nitesh, over to you. Mohit Gupta and Sahil Verma, if you could raise your hands. Yes, we have the topic.
My screen is visible right now.
Yep, visible.
So hello everyone, I am Sahil and my teammate is Mohit Gupta, and we are fourth year undergraduates from IIT Roorkee, and today we will be presenting the product teardown of Simpl. So what is Simpl? Simpl is a BNPL app which currently works on three main key value proposition: one tap transaction, pay later on 15,000 merchant app with offers, and the third one is zero interest. Due to these features, Simpl stand out in the market with comparison to other BNPL apps. So what is the problem statement? Like we have to increase the first transaction rate from 20% to 30% within the first 30 days. So let's jump into the solution. Mohit, over to you.
So after analyzing the entire app, we talked with multiple users who are currently using the apps and created this user persona of Shreya. So Shreya is currently located in Mumbai and she is currently not working. She has currently enrolled in a PM fellowship program. She is used to of doing online payments. She has made most of the online payments from to the merchants like Zomato, Swiggy, and Ola. But mostly she gets out of money because she doesn't have any stable source of income. There we identified few of her goals. She want to use credit card, which does not. She want to use credit card, but which does not use which does not affect her credit score. She frequently orders from Swiggy and Zomato. She want to avail discounts on those payments, and she needs a quick checkout on payment. There were certain frustrations. She need money for her online expenses. There are long checkout processes. She finds difficulty in finding relevant offers. She has seen multiple payment failures while making payment through UPIs and debit card. So after this user research, we and going through the entire app, we came to this user journey. So at the onboarding step, user is unhappy and excited about the interface and experience. Uh, at the finding offer step, while scrolling through the top offer section, she is excited to see these many offers at the offer section. At finding the relevant merchant app, she scrolled through the top offers, but she couldn't find the relevant merchant, which is Swiggy in our case. This is just for example. At the last step, she opened the Swiggy app, but not finding the payment method through Simple. She is frustrated and decided not to order the order now. So these are the gaps and challenges that we identified after doing our user research and going through the user journey. There was no overview of the app was provided on successful onboarding, which was often confusing the user and results in a higher churn rate. New users didn't know that they will get a chance to win cashback after completing the transaction. Also, there was no mechanism of pushing notifications for the ones who have onboarded but have not made their first transaction. There were certain challenges that we identified. The order section is not well organized, and one needs to dig really deep in the app to find the suitable merchant. Many users were getting confused about the phone number they are signing with and often use second phone number. And because of this, they see the payment option through Simple is disabled in the merchant app. There were two primary CTAs on the home screen, which were confusing the newly onboarded user. Uh, so let's see what were the solutions that we potential solutions that we identified after identifying these gaps and challenges. So our first solution is to provide an info section once the user is entering his mobile number at the sign up journey, that prompts the user to enter the same mobile number with which user have account on the merchant apps. This will help us in decreasing the drop offs happening during the transactions at the merchant app, and will help us to increase our first transaction rate by approximately 25%. Here in this second part, we have also provided a clear information about the Simple and how you can do the repayment and its payment process at the onboarding step. This will further help us to increase the first transaction rate by 25%. Sahil, over to you.
Yeah, so next we have shown the before and after screen of the homepage. As you can see, the Pay Now CTA is of no use before making the first transaction by the user. So we changed this to make your first transaction, which will take user to the offer section that we will talk in the coming slide. And we also provide a cashback on the first transaction to the user. And on Slack, as it was mentioned, the most of drop off was happening in the first 7 days, so we thought of providing a timer to create a FOMO in the users to make its first transactions. And this solution will help us to increase the first transaction rate up to 35%. The next is push personalized notification with the reminder of first transaction to win the cashback, and also reminding the days left. That will create a FOMO in the user to do the first transaction, and this will help to increase the first transaction rate by 65%. And the next feature is allow access. And now this feature we want to integrate in our app to is to look for other apps that are present in the user's device, and this will enable us to personalize and suggest offers to the users. And the last solution is after talking to some of users, we concluded that 70% of the users are installing BNPL apps for offers, whereas in Simple we have not given the required importance to the offer section. So we have introduced a new section in the navigation bar, that is so offers. Here we have categorized the offers, and the top offers will be shown at the top uh, at the top by those merchants which are available in the users app. Over to you, Manish.
So coming to the calculation part, here we have shown the calculation that how our solutions are increasing the first transaction rate to 60%. We have added the cases which proves that the particular solutions increase of conversion, the first transaction rate with some X%. Also, we thought of a suggestion. We have discussed this refer and earn feature in the previous two decks as well. So in the end, we have this suggestion that we wanted to incorporate, but since it was a part of the user acquisition, we didn't work on this. In this, referee and referrer both will get some fixed cashback after first transaction by referee, whereas we can add gamification and social proof. Uh, while doing competitor analysis, we came to realize that Slice used to have the similar feature as mentioned by Gopal as well. So at last we have shown the prioritization of feature, and here this make your first transaction CTA has scored most of it has scored the most, as it attracts the users by providing cashback. Also,
Hi,
compound creates an urge to the users to complete their first transaction, whereas info
Mohit.
section.
6 minutes have been up. Just a reminder.
Yeah, yeah. We'll wrap up just to complete their first transaction, whereas info section has scored least, as it can be skipped by a lot of time by a lot of users. So thanks a lot for patiently listening to us. We are open to questions if you have any.
Nikhil, are we open to questions?
Yes, Devyani. Sorry.
Okay. Interesting work, Sahil and Mohit. I have two questions. One is, on the providing necessary info. That's a very specific observation, and I'm curious to understand how did you identify that users might be using a different phone number just above this, a different phone number on the brands, and they need to be informed here. The logic and like how did you arrive at this? And the second question is allow app access. So, from your point of view, how will it affect the user psychology? Will it deter them to not proceed ahead? Because people are usually peculiar, I don't want to give access to my Gmail or my SMS inbox. So,
Yeah.
that user psychology part. So, these two questions.
Yeah, the
Uh,
first one is like this one we tried to use the Simple app. In the Simple app I used my other mobile number, and in Zomato I used my other number. So the simple option was disabled. So we took some interviews, and over there we just find out that the mobile number should be same. So I just changed my mobile number in Zomato, and then simple option was like simple, like now I can use the simple option. So from there, like, we identify like by using it.
Also, a lot of times we identified that a lot of users are just installing BNPL app. They aren't really aware what is their USP, how to do the repayment there, how to proceed for a payment. So we thought we will put a prompt that this is how we are going to use Simple. Just 3-4 sentences of how simple, how easy it's to do payment on Simple.
Yeah, and the next part is of this, like, allow permission. Yeah, we also thought that there can be a lot of drop off due to our, like, this solution. But for this we have even alternate option, which is skip now. And due to that, the offers will be not personalized then. Yeah.
Hey guys, Khanaz here. Can you scroll up to your first solution where you're replacing the CTA? I don't know if it was the first or the second, but yeah, where you're replacing the
It's second.
CTA with make your fund. Yeah. So, like, what happens when you click on this button, make your first transaction?
The users will, like, directly navigate to the offer section where he can find its offer, and yeah, and go to the merchant.
Got it. And can you also just reiterate again how this win cashback thing works?
like like just after making the first transaction within 7 days, the user will get the cashback. And yeah, we will like try to make it remember through the notification.
So why is it win cashback? Like, is it a guaranteed cashback, or what did you guys have in mind?
Yeah, in starting we thought to put we interviewed the users, and there we find, like, user get cashback, like, on a random transaction. So we thought, why not give them cashback on their first transaction, like, to promote their need, and yeah, after that we can skip their cashback for 2 to 3 transactions.
Got it. And in by doing that, what are you guys optimizing for? By not doing guaranteed and
Yeah,
rather doing
like, we are
gamified?
making, like, in starting the user don't see the need now, that he want to, like, take the first transaction just right now. So now
No, no.
now we have
My question
created a
was,
need for the user.
yeah, no, that I agree and I appreciate. What I was trying to understand was, instead of saying guaranteed cashback, what are you optimizing for by making it like gamified cashback? What is the rationale there?
I could not understand your question, actually.
No, so the alternate to what you're saying is you promise everybody a cashback, right? Like, transact
Yeah.
for the first time in 15 days and you get assured cashback. Um, why did you not choose that approach and chose this approach of saying you could potentially win something in a cashback? Any insight that
that
made you?
that like that will let to the user in the prompt that they will mostly not win the cashback. Like, there will be the 50% chance not to not win the cashback. So we thought, like, this can also be a drop off. So we guaranteed for cashback for the first transaction.
Okay, you're saying you are guaranteeing. Okay, okay, my
Yeah.
bad. I thought you were saying ki even the first transaction cashback is
No,
probability
we are
based. Okay,
guaranteeing for the first round.
okay, got it. It was confusing because you are messaging it as win, and win is typically probabilistic, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for maybe UX writing for better.
One question regarding the, I mean, probably it's a problem with the flow. So you have given a calculation that based on which you have evaluated 3x roughly. That includes multiple pieces. Providing information, feeling foremost, etc. Then you have come back and then prioritize the solution. So I was a little confused on what the approach is. So is it that with all the solution you could get 3x, but then you're still prioritizing
Yeah.
at the end?
So yes, exactly. So before jumping into all these solutions, we want to prioritize which solutions are working in a better manner.
Yeah, but okay. So it the calculations were coming first and then the priorities. So I was a little confused where if you have already prioritized, why are you factoring all the solutions as part of the calculations?
But we didn't know the exact numbers, so yeah, that's why we did here the calculation.
Got it. No problem. Yep, nothing further from my end.
Any other questions from anyone else?
Just not a question. I think good job, guys. Mohit and what the other person's name. I think I like the focus that you've kept on the problem statement, and I especially like the cleanliness, almost clean UX that you've kind of recommended. So good job.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Nitesh, over to you. Thank you so much, Mohit and Sai. And Nitesh? Yeah, thank you. We have two remaining ones. All right, Sagar, if you and your teammate could just raise your hands. All right, we have Mohit and Sagar here to present their deck.
Thank you so much, Nikhil.
Yeah, just let me present.
Just give us a second, please.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, it's Zoom.
Okay, let's start.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I know it's a Sunday evening, but we'll stick with Simple's core philosophy, keeping everything simple. I'm Sagar Venkateshwar. I'm from IFT and I work with City, and this is my teammate Mohit. He's also from IFT and he works with IndiaMart as a product manager. Today, we are going to have a take on the product teardown. So, in a brief, with over 15,000 plus merchants, 49 million transactions processed till date, over a 7 million user base, with Simple has three propositions: one tap pay later, pay in three, and bill box, with a simple proposition of reducing friction while it comes to payments. Now, moving ahead, the core objective. More, could you please go to the next slide, please? The core problem statement that we have limited ourselves to, or what the pain points that we are going to solve, is to improve the day 30 conversion for the product metric, successful app onboarding to the first transaction by 3x times. That means we have taken the assumption that the onboarding has already been done in place and we are more focused about how we can improve the transaction rates. For that, we have ensured that we have seen what the key competition is, we have seen the industry trends, then we have analyzed the information received from the Ask2 session in terms of what are the simple power user trades and the top simple category use purchases that's happening. From these, we have derived three consumer persona which we will further validate through further consumer research, both primary and secondary in subsequent slides. So the first persona is a value lover who's always looking for discount and he is crazy about it. The day he gets a good deal, he goes and does his transaction there. The second user persona is a convenient maniac. He or she wants to ensure that there's no confusion when it comes to payments. If there are 10 payments to be done, he or she wants to be done it in a single simple fashion with just one tap. The third is somebody who's a credit seeker who is financially disciplined, but he or she isn't required of a certain credit to ensure that they manage their life in a dignified manner. But they have a core principle of being financially disciplined so that they are looking for assistance of fintech firms that apply with it. Now, moving ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so moving ahead, we want to talk about the onboarding customer journey. And but before that, we wanted to do the customer research part, right? So we did the prime research. We found out few people who uses Simpl and also the app reviews that we got from the Play Store. Okay, so few points are: one is Shravan, who is age is 26 and lives in Hyderabad. He is an IT professional and uses Simpl for the convenience part. So he's that convenience seeker that we were looking for. And the second one is who is a student, Aditya. He lives in Delhi, and he was introduced because of the extra cashbacks he gets from the Simpl part. From looking at the app reviews, we found out that the bill box has not been activated in deliberately by for the many users as well, and many find the Simpl very simple to use. So I think we are getting good at that, and the experience has been really great. And Simpl enjoys the best reviews among its competitors on Google Play. So moving on, now we also talk about, so before going to the issues, the frictions that the user is experiencing, we wanted to understand and experience the onboarding journey that they are having. So in the phase one, whenever you go and start the app, you install the app, you give your number, there's a KYC verification, and then directly you are on the home page. But if you see, so one thing that was really good, the things gone right were it's a quite smooth process. Plus at the same time, there were uh, introductory carousels as well, so which are very informative about how this Simpl works, right? And the detailed FAQs whenever you reach the final homepage. But the things that can be improved as per our observation was there were no push notifications in the first 96 hours or more as well for the first transaction or anything. Second, there was no offers availability section was there for the first 72 hours. And the enable autopay, as our previous person also said, that enable autopay takes away the key focus from getting the first transaction to be done. Because if now no particular transaction has been done, there is no use of it for now. From the phase two, what happens is when you give some time to the app, there is a feature, there's a thing called the top offers on the Simpl popped out. Okay, when you have to click and then you can go to the offers.getsimple.com and you get all the offers that are there. So things gone right on this part was that ad carousels are there on the site and it's quite illustrative in nature. So that is really good. But what we were also thinking is that this is taking us out from the app and taking to the browser. So it's breaking down the workflow of a particular user. So there's a lot of friction that is there, right? So these are the two observations coming from here. Now we will be moving towards customer journey post onboarding.
Now that we have seen what are the issues that a customer faces when he or she downloads the app and goes on with the registration, there are three ways a user can ideally make a first transaction with the Simpl ecosystem. So we'll deal with either of them in the subsequent slides. So the first one is one tap pay later. Ideally, this is how the consumer journey should look like for a first transaction. A simple user downloads the application and completes the registration. After that, he verifies which sort of merchants are linked with Simpl within his account. Then he goes to the merchant tab, gives out the necessary details, go to his card, completes the payment, and that's how the first transaction is recorded. But what is happening today is if I, as a user, come in and see, there is no way that I can see what sort of transactions I can make. Like there is no discovery option or dedicated work path on where the merchants are. And this is, it's not as if this feature is not present in Simpl. It's already given for repeat users. But for a first time user who needs to be nudged towards the first transaction, this workflow is missing. Moving on to the
Hi,
next.
Sagar. Just to interrupt you, you crossed the 5 minute mark.
Sure. So moving on to the next part, that is the bill box. As it was already mentioned that this was deliberate, but if a user, my person of convenience user who wants to avail this, that awareness is not present that you will get this after certain transactions being done. That awareness is not present in the current app journey. Moving ahead, even though pay in 3 is not in the current focus now because it's only applicable for certain creditworthy customers, the mention of pay entry is only present in the Simpl blog and nowhere else on the web or application, at least for a first time user. At least you need, if somebody actually downloaded the Simpl app for this feature, he or she is not getting the correct information or awareness for it. So with these pain points, we want to talk about the initiatives that match with our product personas.
Yeah, so first would be to introduce the partner merchants at top of our sections in the homepage for the start the new user as well. So that why we want to do this, because the current homepage doesn't provide any info about it. There's no top offer section, and the push for autopay doesn't work out for the first timer. How we're gonna do it? We're gonna create a dedicated rectangular slider section for the partner merchant, and the data will be fetched from the directly Simpl's website, and there would be a offer will also be there, right? The key matrices that we'll be looking here will be the merchant and the offer tiles impression and the clicks that they are going to do, and the clicks on the transaction completion ratio. Next is the ability to app in experience within Simpl. So we discovered that there is a break in the workflow of a user. If he wants to go on take a particular offer or something like that, he has to go to the merchant website. Why it should not be a directly workflow from app to merchant? So what we want to do is we want to create. We don't want moving user out of the application and break that workflow. We want to create and embed Google Chrome's in-app browser functionality in the Simpl app only. This would help us in higher order completion rate as well as the higher average time per session per user. Third is the personalized push notification. So we got the insight that we are not getting any push notifications in the first 96 hours. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to nudge the user for their first transaction. How are we going to do? As we also know that the first week is quite important, so we would increase the frequency of the notifications, and we would provide personalized push notifications on the merchant offers. The carousel promotions also will be there on the Simpl app, and the WhatsApp messaging should be there that you are missing the greatest offers and you like this. The key matrices over we will be looking on the WhatsApp click to conversion rate and the carousel impressions and the click rate.
While the first three initiatives that we talked about more are on the basis of what a user needs, the tools, etc., to make his first transaction, the next two initiatives that we are going to talk about more from a long-term strategy, which we are going to span it out in a timeline if given a consideration. The next one is action-based referral program. So what happens here is we will be having a proper time-sensitive coach where the referee and the referral will ensure that if, let's say, I give a code to a person, if he or she completes the transaction within the first transaction within the 7 days, only then the referral will get the benefit. So the main advantage of this is to ensure that there's a time bound based on what we are doing to acquire our customer in the lowest cost possible, and at the same time nudge them to make their first transaction. And Simpl's interface is good enough that once they make the first transaction, they'll at least get hooked to the idea of how frictionless the payments are. So that is where this acquisition strategy is coming from. The key metrics we can look whether it's working or not is in terms of what is the increase in my MAU and DAU, what are the day 30 conversions or even less, and what is the retention rate that we are looking at, whether we want to see promote it for a long term or not. The next path is the key focus that we had talked about when we have mailed, when we ourselves have downloaded the application and mailed to the person that why don't we have a bill box feature enabled? Because I as a user know what bill box is, I want to use it, but that feature is not present there. There could be a number of reasons, whether I'm not enough credit worthy or I could make some certain transactions to improve my credit worthiness to enable this feature. So to point out this awareness problem, what we want to devise is a gamification feature where based on the number of transactions that you do, a user can enable more premium features like bill box and pay in 3, because that is where you know that this guy is credit worthy, he makes his repayments on time, and that is where you can reward him as a user giving him bill box and pay in 3, and that is how you have a loyal customer. So this is from a more long-term basis, but this, before we even reach to this step, we want to talk about how the 5 initiatives look in terms of an implementation forward. So when we use the RISE framework and rank them, what feature needs to be taken on a priority and what feature is not, the first thing that comes up is a personalized push notification, because the simple funda is a user knows what Simpl is, he takes the effort to download the application, and still he doesn't make the first transaction. That means there could be a hypothesis of an information problem or a nudge problem that we can solve from a push notification basis. This is something that Simpl already does. It needs to be redirected in a more nuanced form. Now, while this initiative is going on, the next two priorities should be ensuring that we have partner merchants and offers, which is already enabled for other users, for a first-time user, so that discoverability gets easier and his friction is less. Second, the third is, which can be taken over time, is the ability of in-app experience within Simpl. Now, with these three in place, where once a user comes in, we have a perfect network for him to enable his first transaction, we can take over the next initiatives for a long term. That is your action-based referral program, depending on how resultive it is and for how short time we can do based on the budgets that we have. And the cost incentive that we have is a gamification feature. We just need to ensure that it enables, it unlocks the premium features what Simpl has for different use cases. We can simply say that you do your first transaction and that leads to your path to unlock these features. So this is the prioritization that we had taken. We have not given out any numbers because we believe that these basic hygiene factors which are already present, these are cost effective, these can be easily given to first time users, and we are hoping that this will confidently increase our numbers by 3x in a simple cost effective manner. Thank you for your time. We are open for questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Nikhil, we can go ahead with the questions, right?
Yes, please. Yes. Floor is
Yeah.
yours.
So overall, I think you guys have put some good effort into creating this. So, it's a commendable job. Had a few questions on the solution number 2, that is the in-app experience within Simpl. I'm just trying to understand that the proposition here, the value proposition to the end user, right? So you have suggested that you'll let the user come to potentially the home page, and then use the Chrome extension like an iframe of sort, and then open the web page of Big Basket or whichever place that I want to go within that, right? Now, a few questions or clarifications required there. So one, the user might already have a mobile app where all the items are pre-filled there, right? So wouldn't this actually increase the friction because now the user is forced to log in through, let's say, a web page? And the second thing is, when we stop running offers, what's an incentive for users to come here and then look into this offers? Look in this section on the first place.
Yeah. So the first thing is that we can directly put. So what we wanted to do here was we didn't want to break the workflow. Okay. When we go and partner with the merchant, I don't. So what we tried, we did the benchmarking for the lazy pay. What happened was they had a section like this. When we click on this, you can directly go over there, but there's no mention or there's no promotion for the lazy pay over there. The user can go and choose any other coupon or something like that. So there was no interaction, there was no conjunction between these two things, right? So we didn't want our person to go directly over there and do some other promotion. Like we don't want to do their promotion. We want to close our own cycle also, and at the same time we can claim okay that this has been done from our browser. So this was the reason that we put the in-app browser only, where he can directly put the details over here and we can be tracking that as well. So
right. So, but still, what I'm trying to understand is, if I go with this workflow, right? User came to Simpl app, clicked on, let's say, Big Basket, and within the same app's ambit itself, web page opened up. Now the user now has to log in again to his or her address, and still this won't prevent the user from selecting another payment mode, right? If there is a better offer.
Balu, to answer your question, let's spin it on its head. Let's say I'm a user, I have registered Simpl, I've onboarded everything, I've linked with Big Basket application. Now I'm moving out of Simpl application. Now I could immediately perform the transaction, or I could do it after 10 hours or 12 hours. There is no limit on the customer behavior. That is point number one. Point number two, as Mohit has rightly pointed out, even I go to the Big Basket application, there is no 100% guarantee that I will only use Simpl offer, because I can still go with some other transaction mode that I have. Now, the third issue is, as you're right, the user has to give in his login details for the first time, and that's a friction. But if I look at a long-term perspective, for a user, he simply goes into the Simpl application, he clicks on Big Basket, he completes its transaction using the simple payment method. That is happening in a single flow. So a single one-time pain of adding his login is very minimal in compared to the long-term benefit of a frictionless payment, because every time he has to use Big Basket application, he has to go out of Simpl, go overflow, he has to go to another application, he has to come out of this, go out of that, he has to copy his refill codes, etc. This is a lot of process when I see both in conjunction. I hope this answers your question.
So we want,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
if the app is linked directly and if we have that partnership relations, then we can also go to directly app thing that you are suggesting. But if not, we also want to point out the time and the intent that at the time he's using the Simpl, we want to channelize. That's why this was there right now.
Got it. I think, yeah, I got your thought process. I was also trying to figure out how this will really be frictionless because irrespective of whether the user comes from Symbol app or otherwise, right? If the person goes directly to Big Basket, then also the person will see Symbol's offer. Um, so that's what I was trying to figure out. But yeah, I understand your thought process there.
Also to add on to that, Ranju, this is more on targeting the convenience persona where he gets to complete its transaction in a single workflow without breaking any point of going out of
Got your
application.
point. Got it. So that's one good thing that I liked about the approach because you have also stuck to the core proposition of convenience and tried to work around that, which is a good thing. But again, when we define convenience, also there are different ways to achieve that. But yeah,
Exactly.
overall, I understand your line of thinking.
Hey Sagar and Mohit.
Hi,
I
Nitya.
really like the onboarding breakdown and identifying the communication gaps in terms of like how many hours and how much time we are taking to communicate with the users. Also, the success metrics you have mentioned for each solution, how we will evaluate the success of the solution. That's good. I have one question regarding your fifth solution, which is gamification features to unlock Pain 3 and other rewards.
Yes.
So I feel this is more towards engagement after the first transaction is already done because even in the visual I see four transactions needed, or this is for like unlocking something that the user doesn't have right now. So how is it immediately helping in doing that first transaction?
Mohit, I'll take this one. So Devyani, the most important point for any first time user is he or she needs to know what sort of mediums he has to make a transaction. As of now, there are different various means with the algorithms who are backend at Simple decides who's a credit worthy person, who's not a credit worthy person. So for who is in a good credit score basis, he or she will have these features unlocked and they'll go with the transaction. But the majority of where Simple is more on the lines that they want to solve the credit problem that they have and they want to build this transaction capability. We want to create that awareness that you start with your first transaction, go on with much more, and that's how you are going to unlock these features. So making your first transaction is a long step in that journey. So we are targeting from, even let's say there are customers whom offers may not let's say if I came to Simple only for a Pay 3 feature, but that is not available to me right now because there could be a number of reasons. I may not be credit worthy enough on date, but if tomorrow I'm there, but I like the proposition, I don't want to go away because of this feature, we want to ensure that start by one transaction. You can make a number of transactions that can be decided at the back end, looking at the historical data. And if you make these many, this thing, that's how we unlock you these features that you need right now. That's how this gamification has given. That's how we want to ensure that you start with one transaction, and that's how it's going to help you in the long way. And it's a, if I put it a spin on its head, it's going to be a retention strategy on its head, because I'm ensuring that he doesn't stop with one transaction, because today I can attract somebody with one discount and he's going to make the transaction. But if I want him to come back for second transaction, third transaction, then I need to give him something more. And Simple has beautiful features which can be put in a market basket in terms of low hanging, your mid premium and high premium. And that's how this gamification will solve an immediate problem without too much effort in terms of money, that you can make these many transactions and unlock these features. And all that starts with one tap.
So I would just like to add one point, Devani, over here is that we have kept it in the last in our priority number one. Number two, while we were doing the insights part, now Billbox and Paying 3 are not the features that customers, the users normally know about it. So we wanted to increase the awareness as well. That might be a feature that Billbox will keep them close to Simple, right? Or Paying 3 is the feature that will keep them close. So we don't want to get them away just because they are not eligible right now. So that was also the reason to put it in the front page as well. So yeah, and it's a long-term feature. We are not targeting it the first place as well. I hope we answered the questions.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All
I
right.
too had the same question regarding the fifth part, but I think Devian already put it up, so we're good to go.
Thank you so much, Nikhil.
So before we move into the next session, I mean, I would also just like to ask from the Simpl team just for the audience benefit. So, like all of the features or the improvement or the initiative that Sagar and Mohit has presented, how do you people think internally about let's say specific features? You can probably pick one of the features that they initiative that they presented here, and also in terms of prioritization. Because I'm pretty sure many of these initiatives, many of these ideas would have come up in last 1 year or even before that in terms of prioritization, in terms of launch, in terms of GTM also. So how have you thought about it? How have you gone about, decision making process in terms of whether to ship now, whether to ship it later, whether to not ship it at all, or things like that? I mean, how does those kind of discussions or brainstorming happens internally?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I can. I
Maybe
can just.
just one comment before jumping into it. Abhay, maybe it is easier if we get the last one also out,
Sure, sure.
because otherwise, we will be influencing
Agreed,
the way
agreed,
the
agreed.
other guys will think about
Agreed.
it, right? So we will
Agreed.
do a rundown after all presentations are done.
Sure, sure, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. As was mentioned, we have one more team left. Sana Mazumdar and Saurabh, if you could raise your hands, I will add you on stage.
Yeah, folks.
You can begin whenever you're ready. Saurabh and Sana.
Yeah, is Sana up on the stage?
I have added her on stage.
I don't
She's
see
not visible.
her.
Yeah, even I can't see her.
Maybe I think Sana, you can rejoin. There was probably some issue while she's here.
She's up. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
yes.
I think Sana, you can start. She's just refreshing her screen. Just give us one. Yeah, I think Sana can start.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Sorry for the delay. My internet during remote work has been a bit of a pain point. Hello, so excited to be presenting to you today. We're just going to jump right into it. I think we all know the problem statement by now with all of the presentations that have gone by. We want to successfully 3x the conversions from the app onboarding to the first transaction. So our goal here is pretty straightforward. We want to reduce the drop-offs from 80% to 40%. So we want to bring that down by half. Our approach in terms of how we're looking at this is dual focused. We want to both plug the gaps in the current flow as well as find new initiatives to bolster it. Saurabh, can you go to the next slide? Thanks. This is what the process will look like that you see on the screen. We have a lot of content to cover, so we are going to be prioritizing some stuff over the rest. If you'd like more information or a deep dive on something, please let us know towards the end. So first up, who are the users? We've done a little bit of user research and made two personas based on what their motivation for using Simpl could be. The first is a convenience seeker, someone who shops online regularly, is extremely tech savvy and likes discounts. The other is the credit seeker, who has a recurring income and really enjoys, has a thirst for savings and discounts and may or may not be as credit savvy, as tech savvy, sorry.
Coming to the next slide, what is the journey? Right, the user journey on Simpl is basically divided into 4 different parts: onboarding, exploring the app, considering the app for transactions, and making the transaction at last. Right, on the onboarding side, the start, it's very clean and self-explanatory. Users know what to do, and there is not too much friction. Moving on the exploring the app wala phase, now there are a few pain points over here. The FAQ section is great, but it's not really geared towards the new users. Moving on to the first problem, the homepage post onboarding is much more suited to users who had already used Simpl and not for a new user. Right? For example, prompt to enable autopay for users who don't have transaction or a bill to pay might be a bit difficult to relate. Not to forget that users might be low on motivation to begin with. We also noticed that there is no intervention for users who have low motivations or no need for the transactions at that particular point of time. Moving to the third problem which we saw, merchants and deal recommendations are pretty generic. The users may or may not require these items and may not be buying from those merchants at that point of time. Moving on to the final problem, there are no additional delight features or nudges to encourage the user to make a transaction. Now moving on to the considering part of the journey, right? We are only touching on this because part of the journey happens a lot outside the app, and naturally on merchant's app, you can't guarantee that Simpl will be a top spot. So you have to increase recall via communications, which look fair over here, but are a bit generic in nature, right? Moving on, this is the summary table of what we just walked through. We have mapped clear pain points with respect to the user journey, and our focus will be on exploring and product-based interventions. This is a fair snapshot of the problems. There are other potential problems which we have kind of scoped out for now.
Thanks, Saurabh. Coming to our solutions, the first solution we're looking at is optimization for new users, which is directly related to problem number 1. Here, what we're looking to do is give them a more personalized experience where they're able to sort of reach that transaction, that nudge to that transaction immediately. One way to do this is to have Simpl pass their email or emails, their SMSs or emails to understand what their purchase history has been and suggest deals accordingly. There could be 2 parts to this. The first is obviously associated with the deals and discounts that already exist on Simpl, and the second is to just know what their user behavior looks like. Here we're also looking at just in terms of visual hierarchy, where what they see on the page right on top is what is really going to matter to them as a user. The second solution we're looking at is deals. Our hypothesis here is that people don't want to miss out on discounts, but more than just specifically discounts, they don't want to miss out on discounts that are exclusive or have a limited time. There is that fear of missing out that I think another team has also mentioned already. That does exist. What also helps here is habit building. If I know that I have a deal of the day, or if I know that I have a discount that I can approach every single day, then I do have that, sort of nudge to want to come back. That's more of a long-term thing, not specifically for the onboarding aspect for now.
Moving on to the next feature, which is scan and pay. Over here, our hypothesis is users want to transact offline. There are a lot of merchants which users are not able to reach right now just because they are not partnered with Simpl. So from the solutions perspective, we are talking about a UPI-based solution that will allow users on Simpl to use Simpl with the offline vendors as well. Here we wanted to encourage a seamless integration in the lives, and there is already an existing behavior of scan and pay, which is pre-built as a habit in the users' minds right now. This is how the scan and pay section would look like. Basically, the user behavior which we already see on a lot of these UPI apps is being replicated on the Simpl's front.
A couple more solutions. There's a referral program. This again is a more long-term solution. The idea is that referral programs will give you more quality leads because of the trust factor of, being brought to an app, not from a marketing channel, but from somebody you trust. We also have financial incentives and rewards that can push people to transact higher, which is obviously beneficial to us, again, in the long run. The next is...
Sana, just to interrupt you, you have crossed the 5 minutes.
Thanks. The next is group wise. What we're talking about here is an extension to the discounts that we've already talked about, but adding sort of a social network aspect to it, where more users opt for a certain deal, the larger percentage of that discount is offered. This adds a little bit of a personality to it, where people are able to communicate and sort of be more engaged on Simpl on a day-to-day basis as well. The next one that we're looking at is kind of a fun one, actually. Simpl simplifies and saves. We talk a lot about Simpl's value proposition and what it does, but people are only able to realize that once they've been making the transactions. So this is a fun visual element that we can integrate to let users see what that cashback or discount saving would be depending on their spends, and also the amount of time they'd be saving. Obviously, the exact seconds taken for credit card transaction or a net banking transaction is a lot higher than what it does for Simpl. So this just kind of gives that to them in real terms.
Moving on to our next feature suggestion, which is virtual card. Over here, we were thinking having a virtual card will give the users increased flexibility to use Simpl credit everywhere, have a potentially higher limit, and not to forget the online D2C merchants and the users, online D2C merchants which users are currently transacting with. Simpl can have a good enablement from having a virtual card on that front. Moving on to the next suggestion is a WhatsApp push. It's what it sounds. Basically, WhatsApp being a medium with a very high open rate, Simpl would want to connect with the users here via discounts and updates in the longer term. Moving on, there is a bill box feature which is already implemented. What we were suggesting over here is an addition of a OTT and other subscription layer, which users have to pay at the end of every month. Generally, if you see purchase like Zomato and Swiggy, these are once in a blue moon or once or twice every quarter, depending on the persona. But those OTT subscriptions, you have to pay at the end of the month.
Great. So those were the solutions. We used the RISE framework to score each of those solutions, and we have ultimately prioritized optimization for new users, deals, and the scan and pay features for phase 1. This goes into the table that we looked at earlier when it comes to goal and our approach in terms of plugging the gaps in the current system as well as new initiatives. The next thing we look at is the roadmap that we have for phase 1 of this project. So, Saurabh, can you go to that slide? Thank you. For each feature, we have an execution strategy, a success metric, and an expectation. For the optimization of deals, that is the homepage that you see. And the deals were heavy on experimentation in terms of A/B testing and seeing what variations of forms would do best for Simpl users. I think Simpl already does a little bit of that A/B test when we, every time you open the app, you do sometimes see a slightly different UI or UX. I just want to continue that practice to see what exactly is, getting the conversions that we're looking for. A bit more of a cautious approach with scan and pay. There is obviously a lot of, regulatory and technical hurdles that will have to be looked at. A lot of beta testing to see if the users would want something like that, and of course if it aligns with Simpl's long-term goals as well. For the metrics for each, we just wanted to know what percentage each of these features are going to be able to contribute to the overall conversions once they have been implemented over time. For our expectation, we obviously didn't have the data and have not had much time to kind of go into the numbers, but just as an estimate based on the problems that it's tackling, we are just estimating a drop off of about 15 to 20% for each of these. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, Sana and Saurabh. Over to you, Simpl team.
Yeah, Sana and Saurabh, overall, good presentation. I think you have given quite a lot of solutions as well, which is good. And I think you guys have made a potential roadmap structure as well, which is also something that's aligned with what we typically do from a product management perspective. A few questions regarding your solutions. You have mentioned group buys, where that's number 5, solution number 5. Yeah, so where you're saying that the percentage discount goes up as more users start using. can you walk us through what exactly this is and how this will work?
Sure. So this is a bit derived from the experience which I think Cred has recently introduced, and that has been the inspiration for having a group by feature as such for Simpl. Over here, what we are trying to do is form some kind of a social experience amongst folks who are using Simpl to on getting the deals which are there, and the kind of the way which we were thinking of it was if more folks would be getting applying for these deals, the more cashback or discounts we can give to them. And the rationale was more on the terms of try to build some amount of habit which will make them open Simpl more often to check what are the deals and discounts across various merchants which are going on.
So, is it like, let's say, I try to avail a deal, and the deal will kick in only when X number of other users avail the deal, or when I tried to avail the deal, the discount was 1%, and if X number of users try to avail the deal, then potentially that 1% could go to 5%. Is that it?
Yeah, more like that. So if there can be some kind of a bar or slider which can tell hey 80% of the folks or 80 folks out of 100 have utilized these deals, and the chance of getting more cash back is higher if you also use this deal and transact on one of the Simpl's merchant apps. So if not many folks do that, the chances of getting more discounts and cashbacks increases is something what we were thinking of in a high level perspective.
Okay, so I mean, one more confusion there, because typically what happens is user will, let's say, potentially click on an offer in your new design, go to merchant's page, or I mean, as an in-app page, or however it is, and then immediately check out, right? Immediately buy. So that's the convenience that Simpl offers. So how does somebody waiting for this work?
Exactly.
Because
So
yeah,
one or two ways. Yeah,
Sorry, go on. Sorry, I was just saying that's a great point, just in terms of the delay that gets added to the transaction value. Great perspective. I think the one way to sort of look at this would be to make it a cashback instead of a discount, where what you're saying is that this is an offer that's valid for 24 hours, and when you availed it, there were maybe 3 or 4 people, and your cashback hasn't sort of hit your account yet. But let's say by the end of that 24 hours, there were a lot more people who did kind of take it in. That cashback amount has gone up, and at the end of the 24 hours, everyone still gets the same amount of cashback. So thereby availing that increased percentage because of the amount of people that availed it, but not taking away from the convenience, because it hasn't hampered your transaction in any way. Just the exact point with that your cashback came in was slightly delayed.
okay, so it's more like, I'm committing upfront, and potentially, let's say, waiting for other guys also to commit, right? I mean, I have already made the purchase. I could get a variable cashback later, so that makes me come back and then check in the app, is what you're thinking.
The idea is also, when this again, now that we're talking about it, also feels a little bit about engagement, where you're also able to encourage your other friends to make that similar transaction, or to come back to Simpl and say, hey, you know what, do this, so that we can bolster that percentage that we're all going to get together.
Got it. One more question regarding the solution 7, that is Simpl, simplifies and saves. I think you have 2 number 7, so I think I'm referring to the second one. In this one, again, I was not really clear on exactly what this is. It's kind of giving me an impression that I can potentially increase the amount that I could save. At least visually, that's the first thing that strikes me. Is that what you are trying to convey, or is it something different?
Yes and no. So the idea that the toggle that you're seeing calculates the cashback you'd get based on what your average expenditures look like over a year. So if on food delivery you spend a lot of money, then naturally the cashback you'd get would be a lot more versus somebody who doesn't spend as much. So that's kind of what the calculation looks like, where you're kind of going to personalize it by saying, this is what my expenditure looks over a 1-year period, and based on that, we're calculating the cashback for you on top. Idea again with this is, we know there are a lot of people specifically using Simpl who are heavily dependent on online transactions for all of their needs. Because we are expecting that volume to be a bit high for that specific user segment, that those toggles will also go a little bit more to the right, and thereby increasing the cashback that they're seeing, and as such also the offer, the value proposition that Simpl's offering them in this specific context.
Yeah, so I mean, I go, it could have been easier to understand. You could give some direction as to how I will page or the transactions page or the place where I'm committed to having easier. But yeah, overall, I understand, and it's
Sorry, we couldn't hear the last one.
can you hear? Hello. Uh,
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm having some trouble hearing that.
We can hear
yeah,
you, but I think
I
there is
think
some
there is some
network or audio issue from your end.
network or audio. Just last check if you guys can hear me. Okay.
All right, while Renju is trying to just join us again, would anybody like to
Yeah, one quick
take this forward?
question. On the probably like the second last slide, just before the thank you slide, right? You have mentioned certain expectations that it might help to reduce dropouts by 50%, 20%, and 15%. These are like fairly high numbers when we compare it to overall. In general, these are fairly high numbers. So how did you come over or conclude that it might help to reduce it by 15, 20, and 15% respectively? Like, what was the hypothesis behind these numbers?
The numbers were based on assumptions. Like
Hmm.
like we discussed earlier, we naturally didn't have specific data to support what the problems would look like.
Hmm.
But our approach with this was to estimate a number based on what the priority what we saw in terms of a RICE score. Obviously, because if we saw reach and impact being relatively high for a solution, we were able to estimate that it would have a significant impact in terms of reduction of drop off. And we also looked at the problems that it was being able to tackle. So, for example, in optimization of the homepage, it is tackling the problem where we're optimizing for users. It is tackling personalization as well, and depending on how that sort of goes about, it's also tackling problems 3 and 4 where we talk about adding new features or delights. So it's kind of something that we kind of put numbers to based on a qualitative sort of understanding that we had of the features and solutions.
Okay. Can you add a little bit more to that?
Saurabh, you want to try this?
Yeah. So I think again, right, setting up a number exactly on how which feature would reduce the conversion by what is a bit tricky to do. Over here, I think as we stated in the initial slides that these are the 4 or 5 problems which we think are very heavy, and solving for these would reduce subsequent amount of drop-offs, right? So we are seeing which feature is solving for how many of the problems, and if a feature is solving for multiple or overlaps with 1 or 2 problems, and it's solving for more in terms of reach and impact, we feel that that feature would reduce the drop offs significantly. So majorly it's been that there are these 4 problems which we are resulting to higher drop offs. If we are solving for these 4 problems, which features are heavily solving for them, and depending on basis of that, we have given a certain set of expectations that this would reduce a drop by 15, 20, or by 15%.
Okay. All right.
Renju, if you would like to continue your train of thought, if you're audible.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was basically saying that, for the solution number 7, the only issue that I had was, it was not clear on how the user will reach here. The solution looks good, and I understand your thought process behind that. Just that, where you place this is also important. If the user is coming to pay and then they understand that, okay, I have saved this much by using Simpl, or I have saved this much of money, I mean, money and time, right? because convenience is a play, and that helps me understand that that would have been a little bit more. I mean, how would I put it? Just a bit more value add in terms of the proposed solution. But overall, I like the approach. Yeah.
Makes sense. I think on a high level, we were thinking of this to be a part of the onboarding section. As you see, green has been the theme which has been continued in the onboarding process. We're thinking if that is something, you can let the users play a bit, which will also have a delight factor, and that is something which they'll have a recollection of. Something on that kind or something on that lines, and then easily accessible somewhere on the screen. But I think that's a very fair point. We would definitely delve a bit more as to where the placement could have been better.
Good.
Hey guys, Khanaz, just very quickly. First of all, am I audible?
Yeah.
My net is a little wonky.
Yeah.
Okay. Just can you go to that scan and pay thing? Can you, I didn't quite follow that. Like, what are we scanning? What is the user scanning? Are they scanning the interoperable QR code for UPI, or this is something else altogether?
Yeah, they are scanning the merchant QR code, which you see in offline stores.
But that's a UPI code, right? We don't have UPI. So how would this work?
Sanai, do you want to take this?
Sure. Yeah, the recommendation with the scan and pay feature is to integrate a scan and pay UPI feature that comes in with Simpl as a new initiative, where we are able to offer UPI payments via Simpl, where users pay with the same way that they would with another UPI ID, and the payments from that would get added to the user's regular bill cycle.
Okay, so you're basically recommending that we start like a simple UPI and power it with the pay later in the back.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
reason being that scan and pay has been a user behavior that has been deep rooted in the Indian ecosystem, and we also did a quick run through of what the transactions we had done in recent couple of days, and we had seen that lot many transactions, at least in our closer circle, has been on the scan and pay front, right? And over here, if you look at the problem statement that we are trying to solve, we are trying to give the user that first trigger to just do the transaction. And we feel that using the existing user behavior, giving them an option to do the transaction in the offline mode would have been a pretty prominent suggestion.
Are there any more questions for this team? All right. Thank you so much, Saurabh and Sana. I
Thank
will
you.
be taking
Thanks a
you
lot.
off stage. And that was it. Those were our 5 teams and our 5 finalists in terms of team number. And I think now we come down to the most difficult part of the day, where you will have to go, each of the panelists will be going on mute, discussing personally offline what they think, and will be coming back to us with the results. And I think before that, Abhay just had something to add on. And for the benefit of those who may not know Abhay is the co-founder of the Product Folks, and that's why he's on stage and posing questions.
No, I mean, just before that, maybe I think the conversation in and around of how exactly like Simpl team thinks about product. Maybe we can do it after the entire panelists come back with the results, or maybe we can do now, whichever way you can recommend. Devyani, Faiz, Nishit, Renju. Just a couple of questions in and out of how do you think about product, how do you take decisions, how do you do product hiring, and all that.
Kanaz, Renju, do you want to take it?
Do we want to do it now or after the
Yeah.
results?
We'll do it after the.
Sure. Then you can go for the
Sure, yeah.
results finalization.
Our little channel and then come back.
Sure.
Right.
Yes. So meanwhile, the entire Simpl team comes back with the results, decides on whom they are going to rank up in the first, second, and third position for the today's session. In case any of the folks that are attending today, in case you have any specific questions, anything that you want to ask, specifically know about product management, about TPF, about Simpl, feel free to put in chat. I'll just give a brief about product teardown and what exactly the product teardowns are for the benefits of the folks that are joining for the first time. So product teardown is one of our initiatives that we run for the entire month. It's a month-long initiative. The idea behind the entire initiative is where people come and work on a specific problem statement, product problem statement of the company. The problem statement is given from the startup. Then the team start working on the problem statement. They make their entire decks and presentations. We have a specific submission deadlines also. And after the submissions, the top 5 decks get selected by the panelist, by the jury. And top 5 decks gets the chance to get presented in front of the jury in the finale here. In all of our sessions, we do try to get the from the founders to directors of product to VPs of products of the startup that we are inviting for the teardown session. So you also get a very, very good insights exactly in terms of how they think about product management. And obviously there are prizes and vouchers for people who win, who make it to the finale, who win these teardown challenges. But for people who do not make it, could not make to the finale stage, you need not to worry. You can still go and apply at any of the startups that are currently we are partnering with the product teardown, because these are the startups who are actively looking for the product people, be it the analyst, be it the APM, be it the PM, be it the senior PMs, or any other positions as well. So all you need to do is you can simply apply, go to the company's careers page or reach out to any of the panelists on the LinkedIn and apply directly. And in case you are facing any difficulties in reaching out to them, you can ping any of us here and we will help you get connected with them, get to know about them. But this is the one way to go about learning and actually implementing the product management learnings. So there's also a good platform that helps people transition into other companies, transition into other product roles and things like that. So for the next month, we are planning with this company called One Code. You will probably receive the invite and all the details soon, later next week. But we are planning with One Code. And Rishabh, to answer your question, yes, we are planning to do the teardown in the TPH side as well. Few of the companies and few of the things are already lined up. We are just waiting for the right sweet spot to do the go live. The TPH is a Web3 community of the product folks, and we also have the learning initiatives about Web3 on the TPH. So yeah, similar to this entire product teardown sessions, we will have a TPH product house teardowns as well, where people will come and do the product teardown for the Web3 companies, Web3 products and all that. Yep. Yes, it will come pretty soon. Cool. In case you have any other questions, feel free to put in chat. Specifically talking about the product folks or product teardown specifically, we have the entire list of our YouTube playlist where we have probably more than 13 or 12 plus companies with whom we have done the teardown with. So that includes Simpl, Meesho, Disney Plus, Hotstar, Dunzo, Oyo, Grofers, which was Blinkit, which was Grofers, and multiple other companies. So you can go and learn from those sessions as well. You can directly learn. Praneeth, Netflix, unfortunately, the product team does not set out of India or Asia. So we have not been able to get in touch with them so far. But fingers crossed, we'll probably have Netflix also very, very soon. But in case you are looking to get partnered as a company with the product teardown, feel free to reach out to us, any of us, DM us on Slack. We'll see when can we do. Generally, our slots for probably next 3 to 4 months are always booked. For example, for July and August, both the slots are already booked and we are currently at 3rd of July. So yeah, in case you are looking to do a product teardown with your team, with your company, if you think that is going to become beneficial, or in case in general you are looking to hire, we can do that as well. Rajeshwari, no, Healthify Me is not on the list. Would love to do with them. In case you have the connect or you think they would love to partner, do reach out, do connect, and we'll figure when can we do with them next. Prakshit, I couldn't win, but I'm going to, yes, that's the goal. Parikshit behind these teardowns. I'll give you, without taking the name, I'll give you a journey of one of the individuals. They started with submitting the teardowns regular on month-on-month basis. First 2 months they couldn't crack. After that, in one of the sessions, they could make it to the finale, but they could not win. And probably on the first teardown, they finally won. And after that, they also got an opportunity to work with that company as well. So do not worry. It's a month-on-month teardown process. So you can always come back next month, improve your decks. In case you want a direct feedback exactly on what to improve, what not to improve, I would recommend go to the product teardown homepage on the website. I'll probably put the teardown link also on the chat. So here you can see all the winning decks that has presented in the past, probably in last 1 year or more than a year. So you will get an idea ki what are the specific, 1, 2, 3 things that you see in all the winning decks that are coming or that are presenting or that are regularly winning. So you also can understand what you need to improve. Rajeshwari or any other health tech startups? No, I don't think. We have done one with Farm Easy, by the way, a long back. Probably last year we done one with Farm Easy. After that, we have not done with any specific health tech companies. But yeah, as I said, if you are looking to do, if you know someone who is looking to get partnerships with their teardown, looking forward to it. Cool. Other than this, any other feedbacks, any favorite decks that you folks have, any decks that you think might be able to win today? Will it be the first deck? Will it be the second deck? Gopal is the name coming. Gopal. Okay. No cheering for any other teams. No cheering for any other teams. Sana. Okay, Sana and Saurabh. Yes. Last group, second. Oh, okay. Rishabh, we are already talking about the second group. What was the next company teardown? Promote the next company is OneCode. I think Nitesh has already put the registration form in the chat. So you can check out OneCode. The problem statement is not yet released. We will be releasing the problem statement anytime next week. Yes. So basically, OneCode help is basically a financial advisor app where you can go and sell products digitally for multiple of the BFSI, basically BFSI products, and they are aiming to basically reach to the tiers 3s or tier 4s of the India to make the financial inclusion for the entire BFSI segment. So it's a really good product, and they've also been scaling at a really good scale. So you can check out their product. We will release the problem statement next week, and after that, the submissions and the entire teardown will officially begin. But you can register to get the regular updates from us. Nihal, digital LIC agent. I'm not, to be precise per se. Digital LIC agent would be only selling the LIC products. OneCode has partnerships with multiple BFSI for whom you can sell the multiple products. So yeah. Yes. Sorry, I think I missed that question. From Biswajit, the decks will be shared most likely next week, and it will be uploaded on our website. And the entire video for the product teardown will also be uploaded on the YouTube channel also after the session. Yes, Rishabh, you are asking Metaverse product teardown. Yes, I think the Rishabh asked the same question. The TPH, which is the Web3 team within the product folks that we have, Web3 community within the product folks that we have started, they will start their own separate teardowns also. So every month you will have a 2 teardowns once that gets started. One will be a Web2 teardown, one will be a Web3 product teardown. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything more you want to know specifically? By the way, I think one question that I have seen previously among WhatsApp groups, and I think one time on the Slack channel also, is who is the target audience for these kind of sessions? Who can apply? Who can submit their decks? I will say anyone who is willing to learn and sharpen their product skill is actually the target segment or target audience for this product teardown in terms of attending these sessions and in terms of submitting these decks also. It is not only meant for people who are, let's say, looking for a job. So many people here, for example, Saurabh, who presented his deck in the last, he has recently got the job with the web engage last month itself, but is still here to sharpen his product skill. Not every day you get to learn, get the feedback live in front of the audience from a product leaders. So that also act as a way for you to sharpen your product skills if you are already working at a product company. And in case you are not, then you can always come here, see if you have the understanding, if you know the neck of what product management is, what product management is all about, and all that. Biswajit, one question: do you think a PW candidate gets hired as PM? I don't think there is any specific. I mean, I have not seen any challenges in front of that. Biswajit, I mean, you can DM me in case you have seen any you have seen it any other way around. Where and Rishabh asking how to become a volunteer at TPF. DM Nikhil, I guess. We are actually looking for new people across multiple initiatives. So you can DM Nikhil, and Nikhil will get you in touch, get you on board with any new initiatives that we have. Just get in touch with him. Yeah. I think we have Nishit here. Nishit, others are joining?
Yeah, they're joining. Just give them a couple of minutes. I think they left the call instead of...
Yes. I'm just adding them on stage.
Sure.
We are back.
I think once again. Yeah, I think all of you are here. All of you have been added on stage who have joined the call at least.
Yeah.
All right. All of you can hear us okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we naturally regrouped. We went through all the presentations again. We were discussing the merits, demerits, etc. And frankly, it was a very, very tight call. We were not able to really decide between a few of the presentations. And of course, we had to go into our own internal tiebreakers to arrive at the final words. But having said that, so what we feel is on the third place, Sana and Saurabh does qualify because they had a very good set of solutions.
We can bring Sana and Saurabh both on the stage, Nikhil. Sana, Saurabh.
I'm starting from the third upwards.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. That makes sense. We do it from 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. So, Sana,
Saurabh, please, if you can come on the stage.
You will have to raise your hand, yes. Sana, if you could raise your hands.
Hey, so we guys really liked your presentation, and the kind of solutions that you have put up were also pretty good. And I mean, not many negatives per se, but just that, when things are, I mean, a little all over the place in terms of solutions, that also can sort of backfire sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, we definitely liked your solution. So maybe Simpl other team members can also add on what they liked and what they didn't like.
For sure.
I really liked the first part where each, like the pain points were and the onboarding screens were supported by voice of customers on the right side of each slide. Oh, this is nice. Oh, this is bad. That was very good. And of course, all of the solutions were supported by the rationale behind how, like, why were you supporting it, and the risks also. If you go by this, what risks we might come across. So yeah.
Maybe the
Thank
overall
you.
structuring along with the solutions, right? The overall structuring of each solution was also nicely put up over there.
Super. Congrats, Saurabh. Congrats, Sana. How was your
Thank you
experience?
so much.
Sana?
fun. It was kind of hectic, but I think really forced us to try to figure out how to structure things in a better way, because it's very easy to start out with thinking of solutions, and just going back to making that problem first approach was a really good experience. Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I
we
think I
have
will second that.
put a lot of effort into making that presentation really simple and clear, because it's
Yeah.
very easy to read through. We know it's very difficult to walk us through everything in a 5 minute session, but we could just
Yeah.
look at the presentation and understand what you're thinking. So that was also pretty good.
Great. That was the aim. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Saurabh. Congrats, folks.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
folks.
you.
So I think we can announce the second
Second, please. Yes.
second team. So frankly, we had a lot of tussle between ourselves on deciding the second and first, because we couldn't take away much from both these presentations in terms of negatives. But we feel Sahil and Mohit uh, qualify for the second place. Maybe we can announce.
Congrats. Sahil, Mohit, please raise your hand so we can invite you. Yeah, Mohit is here. Sahil is also here. Yeah.
So a few things that we liked about your solution is that you have understood the problem statement really well, and the solution answers that. Especially when we are uh, designing a solution, right? So we also want to be as less confusing as is possible. In other words, it has to be simple. So that aligns a lot with what we are trying to do and what you guys have achieved. We had a very hard time deciding between the number one and number two, especially because we had to decide one and two place as second. Otherwise, it was not as good as the first place as well, at least in our minds. How was it for you guys? Let's hear from you.
For us, it
Yeah,
was very okay. Go
go on,
ahead.
Mohit. Go on, Mohit. Go on.
So for us, it was like we haven't used Simple before participating in this teardown. So we were asking people, if you have used Simple, what are the problems you are facing. So we somehow we got to know a user of Simple, and she was using Simple from the last 2.5 years. So that's how we asked her ki what kind of problems you are facing. We heard about Slice a bit in our college, but we haven't heard about Simple. But it was really good learning experience to participate in this teardown, and to know how Simple is doing, how Simple is doing in this BNPL space. One review that I heard from a lot of people who were using Simple is that Simple is really very simple, and they were in love with Simple, that how they are making this transaction very very easy.
Yeah,
So
in starting we were like having a lot of solution in our mind, but uh, but 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 we have to boundary ourselves because the focus was on only for like 3x transaction. So yeah, like the that part is so like crucial. So we just try to focus on it, not to go beyond that. Okay. Yeah, but it was a great experience, and from and this is our first time we come in the top three, and yeah, it's really good feeling.
maybe we'll hear from other folks on what you did nice and probably if there is any negative. Devi, any Nishit, guys, if you guys have anything.
Yeah, I think all of us agree on this, that they were very focused on 3x, on improving the rate by 3x, like a very sharp focus. I really like that, and very clean UI.
Oh, so this the credit for UI goes to Sahil. I was thinking of making a very simple presentation on Google Slides or Canva, but Sahil is a UI designer who is, I mean, he works on UI part of websites. He has worked in multiple places for UI work. So credit for UI goes to Sahil.
Also, one more thing is that uh, the solutions that were proposed, right, they were not primarily driven by cashbacks and rewards as well. Had a few product.
Yeah, we came across a blog on Medium. It was I don't remember the name, but it was from a Simple from a core team of a Simple guy. I mean, who worked on Simple. So that's how we came to know about Simple. What's their idea? How they are making their space in this PL system.
Cool, cool, cool. Congrats, Mohit. Congrats, Sahil.
Thanks team
Thanks a lot,
TPF,
everyone.
and thanks Simple.
Thank you.
So I think it's time to announce our first
Winner.
prize winner.
Any guesses in the chat? I guess we can
Let's put it out
invite
in the chat.
guesses first.
Yeah.
There you go. I think we don't have much surprise there. Suspense is broken. So Gopal is our choice as well, and I think it's coming out very clearly from the community.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Gopal, please come on stage.
Gopal, please raise your hand. I think he's here.
Hey Gopal, so can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Hey.
think.
Yes.
Yep, you're there.
So I'm feeling really nice winning this competition. This is the very first time I'm participating in a product tear down being organized by the product folks and winning it for the very first time. I mean, I'm really thankful to all the judges, and I've been getting a lot of support also. So since the time I presented, I have been getting some notifications on my phone, and I just checked that there are some LinkedIn requests and some people talking about me. Like we can talk about it, we can discuss it. So that's very nice. Another thing is that I could not actually decorate my presentation. So actually, I submitted it just 3 minutes before the deadline. So on 29th, I submitted it at 11:57, and yeah, I just tried to focus on the problem statement. And I think I had met Nitya at one of the D2C event. So here I asked him multiple questions. Like I keep on asking questions. So I asked him, "What is your plan? Are you also going to get into lending like other fintech players?" So he said, "No, we don't want to do lending. We just want to focus on making checkouts easier." So I thought, if Simpl is making checkouts easier, why not make Simpl's app experience also easier? So yeah, that was the idea behind it. Thank you so much. I feel really nice.
Let me also try to elucidate good things and potentially bad things, which we couldn't find much, but we like it out from the other guys. But one very good thing that you have done was, from the beginning, you had clearly laid down your assumptions. So that sort of sets the template, because then we are not trying to understand what is going on in the mind of the presenter, right? So that was second thing, and that was the first thing, and then your solutions were very clear. In fact, once your presentation was done, I was just trying to figure out, what questions could I have, because there was nothing much to get clarified on, right? And to consolidate all of that in a 5-minute presentation was really an amazing job. So congrats to you for that. Then your solutioning was also pretty good, and if you could extend that further to some of the layers, you could come out with quite a lot of things that even we are also exploring internally. So I think we could just clearly see your thought process coming through, and we could clearly see some of the solutions that we are also thinking of coming through in your presentation. Maybe let's hear out from the other guys as well.
Yeah, I think Renju, you have just mentioned it one by one very aptly. I like very nicely put out in the beginning itself. What are you assuming? Even the user personas, what was their goal? What were their pain points? Then how were they thinking, feeling about it, and how was their likelihood of doing a transaction? Very nicely started and put out a base to it. And yeah, I really like that part.
I can just put it in one sentence that you were clear as to what you were presenting. Like simply put, you were clear in your mind. what needs to be done, and like in your mind you had no second thoughts around whatever solutions you had proposed.
Thank you so much.
And one more good thing is also about being open about things that you don't want to get into. So you clearly said in your presentation that I don't know how this is going to get you 3x. So I'm not going to get into that. So which is something that is pretty good. If you don't know something, you should be open to, or don't know. It's not about don't know, but if you don't want to get into something because you don't have enough data, that's something that you should be, saying it out loud so that you can get more help and get the data from there, right? So that is also something that's that we really appreciate. So overall, very good. Congrats, and yeah, wishing the very best. I'm pretty sure you'll do very well as a product manager.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gopal. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
Yes. Before we end the session, probably we'll just ask around a few common product-related questions to everyone in the panelist. Maybe to first pointers to start with would be on the decision-making process, or specifically for the product features or a product roadmap. So I'm pretty sure many of the ideas, many of the initiatives or features that got presented today is something you are already discussing, or you would have probably previously discussed as well. But once these ideas or features come into mind, what are your thought process or mechanism at a company level in terms of what to prioritize, what to not prioritize? Is it depending on a specific metric that you want to chasing for the specific month or a specific quarter, or is it depending on a few other things?
Maybe I'll take a first shot at the problem, and then I'll open it up for the other guys. So, from an organizational perspective, first of all, we have very clearly defined strategy, and OKRs defined, right? So we know what are the top four metrics that we need to achieve and by when. So once that is crystal clear, then it's about breaking it down to further pieces, right? So if I decide that, okay, I need to have this many users coming in, or if I need this much revenue coming in, or whatever, right? So if those metrics are clear from a organization point of view, then we as product managers take that and further break it down. Now, when you break it down, there are again multiple choices there, right? So if I want to increase the number of users coming to, let's say, Simpl, there are multiple ways to do that, and we all have with our different individual verticals, we have different roadmap items already listed down. So now the next thing to think of is, one, which of them will contribute the maximum to the metrics that we are defining, and then two, in terms of timelines, um, what will happen. So for example, if my an organizational strategy is that in the next 3 months I have to acquire X number of users, and if I have an awesome roadmap item that will give me, let's say, 2x, but that will take 6 months to develop instead of 3 months, then naturally we will prioritize the other ones, right? Because that's very clear in terms of strategy. So and obviously we also will have our own preferences in terms of the features that we want to develop, but we also try to keep that separate, keep our biases separate, and try to hit only the key items that the company as a whole wants to focus on, and then we further drill down. Now there is a parallel piece also that needs, because in terms of maintenance also we have to be good. So that piece also takes a lot of attention. But yeah, so this is the overall way in which we break it down. And then another piece of this puzzle is how we could execute this as well, right? Because it's not just enough that you understood the company metrics, you looked at the roadmap, let's say you even got the tech bandwidth. After that, is the business aligned to your thought process? Is the partner success aligned to your thought process? Can we actually get that running with our different moving parts? Is something that we need to be absolutely clear on. So there is a lot of collaboration that happens internally. So we come up with our priorities, then we discuss with other teams, and then finalize the roadmap. So that's how it works out. And yes, maybe we'll hear from the other members also on if I have missed out on some things.
Sure.
Yeah, I lost you in the middle, but I think Rangers covered most of the points. And one thing, I don't know whether he mentioned it or not because I missed it out in the middle, that we also see whether certain list items that we have in terms of the divided whether into it is either a new initiative or new product altogether, or certain things like say push notifications, for example, can be classified into product improvement. So once we bucket the items into these lists, then you also see what impact would it create, like would it move the needle of our OKR, how, firstly, that whether it will move impact our OKR or not, that is like the very first filter that we consider. And second thing is if it is moving our key matrix, and what by what percentage is moving, both in percentage wise as well as in terms of absolute numbers. Say if something which is high effort and low needle moving as compared to something which is low effort and high needle moving, definitely then prioritization would be done according to the needle moving part as well. That is also considered. So it's a balance between the
Yep.
effort as well as the needle moving capabilities of that particular item. So that is how the prioritization, I mean, that is also considered when we talk about prioritization.
Divyani, anything you want to add?
I think very well covered by Ranju and Nishit. Uh, so yeah.
Sure. Next up, I would also, like to move a bit on the entire hiring for the product roles inside the organizations. Also, what are the key qualities that you look at, and what are the structured or let's say key rounds that you mandatorily have for everyone who gets hired, or probably just a product interview kind of a cycle for an individual once they apply at Simpl, and what are the qualities that you look at during those rounds?
So there are again certain vertical specific things that will come into play when we hire, right? So but overall, if we look at hiring in general, there are different levels for which we hire, right? Starting from associate product manager to product manager and senior product managers, directors, etc. But given that I think most of our crowd today would be associate PM or aspiring PMs and product managers, let me just focus on that broadly, right? So overall, there are a few things that I mean, let me do one thing rather than going broadly. Let me just talk about how I typically conduct interviews, and let all others can pitch in, because then you will cover mostly all the different flavors of verticals that we have as well. So typically, there are three key pieces that I look into when I'm interviewing a person. So first one is product sense. Whether if you get a problem, do you have the mindset to come up with um, an innovative solution that can actually address the problem rather than going too wide, right? And within that solution, are you actually just trying to be a copy paste versus are you trying to innovate? So copy paste solutions will also work. Frankly, Microsoft has been doing that for quite a while, and that's a proven one as well. But that's not something that will create a wow factor, especially for us startups. It's important for us to stand out. So that's something that will be really interesting. Second is product execution. So once you have identified what you want to build, then you should also have a very strong bias for execution. Without that, even you have the best designs in the world, best product in the world, it's not going to work out. We have to have a bias for execution. So that's definitely one. And the third one borders into attitude, behavioral, etc. But if I can summarize in one word, it will be like, not one word again. It's like it's clarity of thought. So one of the bigger problems that we come across when we hire or when we do the interviews is that uh, the, the person may not be coming out very clearly on what they're thinking through. Of course, people will have a lot of ideas, but if they can't communicate that properly, especially when it's a new idea and especially when it's product management, it's going to be very difficult. The reason simply being, as a PM, you have to interact with quite a lot of teams, starting with convincing your own seniors or business heads, then getting the buy-in from development. And development team will also have very valid questions, mind you, and they will have product questions also, because it's not anyone's baby, right? I mean, it's a common ownership. So that will add to the additional complexity. and then you have to go and communicate this to the marketing and the business development team, and even talk to customers, right? And if you don't have that clarity coming through your discussions, it's going to be very difficult to execute a product. So that's going to be probably the third lever that I will look into. And overall, of course, we have again bias for people who work hard, who wants to grow, etc. But those things usually come out as part of the conversations. But if I have to summarize at a top level, these are the three top items that I would look for.
Got it. Got it. Sure. Nishit, Devyani.
Yeah, Renju covered the basic outline of how we can look into it, and like he also mentioned, it depends on what charter or what vertical also you're getting into, right? So it has to be a little more specific on that, especially for say a company which is already into the market, a few years into the market, so they would have some structure in space, certain priorities in place, and certain verticals, certain teams aligned in that direction. So that would definitely be there. And one important thing that we do is to have a working session. If we are hiring for genuine senior product roles or product roles, we have a working session where we, like how we did today, we give them a problem statement, give them some time, and wait for them to get back with a solution. And we have a working session that helps us to understand the thought process, the clarity of thought, as well as the execution commitment that we could have from that particular person who's looking to get into Simpl. So a working session is something which is an important part of the overall interview and recruitment process.
Got it. Got it.
I think one thing that I want to add is just how enthused product manager is about Simpl in general. Like, how do they understand our vision and how excited they are about this company? I think when I have my exploratory chat, that is one key metric that I look at with all product managers.
Understood. Understood. Yep. Cool. I think, with that, we are almost coming at 3 hours into the session rather than 2. And good to see, still probably 60 people still around listening to our chats and conversation. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining from the audience. Yeah. And thanks to the entire panelist, from Renju to Nishit to Devyani to Faiz to Nitya. And I also forgot names of, I think, Khanjan, if I'm not wrong.
Khanas.
My bad.
Yeah.
So thanks, everyone, for joining. And
Yeah, it was a great. Thanks for having and organizing this entire setup as well, and it was a great learning experience even for us guys. So
yeah,
definitely yes.
Some really commendable effort in terms of getting everyone together, organizing this really nicely. So yeah, great work, and happy to be here.
Thanks, Renju. Thanks, Nish. Special thanks to Faiz also, I think, who coordinated this entire thing probably about a 1.5 month back to till this day on a daily basis. Yeah. So thanks, Faiz, and thanks, Devyani, both for the entire coordination in between as well. Yep. With that, we can close the session. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for joining. See you again.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm just staying on for a few minutes longer just to answer any questions in the chat box for the organizing committee of TPF. Anybody else who does not have any questions and who have already connected with us, if they want to, can feel free to drop off. Thank you once again for joining us on a Sunday evening for almost 3 hours. for any questions regarding the events or like Insurge or the next Teardown event, anything like that, just follow our LinkedIn channel, that is the TPF LinkedIn channel, Twitter, or keep tabs on our website, and we will be updating all information that is necessary on a regular basis. Assuming there are no longer any questions, if there are any more questions that you forgot to add in the chat box here, you can again feel free to reach out to us on the Slack channel or LinkedIn, or tag us on Twitter maybe. The assurance of the last one is not sure. But yes, thank you so much once again. I will be ending the session as of now.